Welcome to the Jaybefaunt channel. I am your host, James Fauntleroy. So good to see all of you here on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Just to let you guys know, the Jaybefaunt channel is available on all major podcast platforms. So you go ahead and subscribe to me there. Also part of the Revolutionary Blackout Network. So you can see me there typically on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, if you guys so choose. Also, if you guys would like to, you guys can subscribe to my Substack at jaybefaunt.substack.com so that you guys are aware of whenever I go live, upload clips, or write articles, so you guys can go ahead and check that out there. It's also here as well if you guys go there. So thank you so very much. If you guys would like to, go ahead and give me a like in the stream. That actually pushes me out into the algorithm so that I am not suppressed as much as I already am. If you guys know the tube, it typically suppresses quite a bit. So thank you so very much to all of you for that. As per usual, I want to say just a general hello to everybody in the chat, but I have a guest with me, someone who is going through similar issues that I am as far as health and as far as, living situation. I wanted to bring this up because this is why I entitled it, This Should Not Be Happening in the United States. I have Sergio joining me right now. Serge, it is so good to see you with me on the channel today. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Brother JB. I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. And thank you so much for coming. One of the questions that I had is, can you give the audience a little bit of a scope of what you're going through and how it's similar to me?
Okay. As well, I'm on dialysis as well. And I'm a diabetic. And
just as an aside, I'm not diabetic, but I do have family who have diabetes though. So just letting you know.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, I'm just really talking about me and how my situation came into existence. Is one day I was at I had just finished a treatment, and at this time I was driving still, and I'm walking out the facility, and I used to have high blood pressure. Since dialysis, my pressure had become below normal. So there's nothing for my pressure to drop. And when it drops, you get dizzy, disorientated and everything. And I'm walking in the parking lot like I'm drunk. And the doctor sees me and she jumps out the car and catch me and was like, "You okay?" And I'm like, not really responding to her because I'm just out of my head. So she walks me back in, calls a ambulance to take me to the hospital. And I get there, and then I got people asking me, "What's going on? How you feel? What's your name? Where you live?" I'm not saying nothing at this time because I thought I answered them, but I didn't. So one of the nurses said, "Okay, you one of those." I didn't know what that meant, but next thing I know, I got a room. I'm in the hospital for 10 days. So anytime they put you by a window, you're staying a while. I learned that. So I was like, okay, I got people coming in and out the room, but I'm still staying. So I asked the nurse, I said, "I heard something about I was one of those. What is that?" Oh, she said, "On your chart, we got you as homeless." I was like, okay. I said nothing because I was in a situation I really didn't want to be in. So I figured this was my way out. People was telling me, yeah, go through the system. You'll get this, you'll get that. But they don't tell you what you got to go through to get this and that.
Speak on it.
Okay, so now, fast forward 10 days up, they kicking me out the hospital. I'm going into a shelter. Now, I'm in New York State on Long Island. So they have houses out here that you, two people to a room that they share in the house. You got a curfew when to be in. You got a curfew to get out in the morning. You could come back for lunch and then leave again. And then you come back in for dinner and pretty much you could stay in because you'll be time for you to come in. Now, if you
Now,
miss the curfew, you get no bed.
now, just to let you guys know, as far as homeless is concerned, I know what it's like to be homeless as a child. So I remember when I was little, and we had to, after breakfast, you had to leave the shelter. You had to dip. They would not let you stay at home there all day. So me, my mother, and my two older brothers will be walking the streets of Orlando homeless. So I know exactly what that's like. As a
Yeah.
as a little kid, I'm talking about before kindergarten as a little kid. So when it comes to shelters, everybody's like, "Oh my God, they have shelters." Those aren't what you think they are. So please continue. I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. And shelters are nothing but a jail. They got curfews and rules that doesn't even make sense. Now, the first thing the guy told me when I got there, he said no outside food or drinks are permitted in the house. You can't take nothing to your room. So he said if you came in here with a bottle of soda, they will call everybody in the house down with a cup and they would share your drink amongst the house. Now that don't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Now, as far as your medications, they lock it up in the room because they said, other people stealing other people's medicines. I understand that. But now being a diabetic, I had to have my access to my medicine at any given time because those with the diabetes know your sugar is either going to be too high or it's going to drop real low. With that, you can't take insulin and certain pills you can't take on an empty stomach. Yep. So I need access to that kitchen as well. Yep. So the guy, when he found out that as they call it, I'm a medical, they said, well, if you was medical, we wouldn't have took you. And I was like, okay, so what does that mean? He said, well, tomorrow morning we'll get you up and you go down to DSS and tell them you're medical. We can't keep you here at the house. And, the people at DSS, Department of Social Services, act like they are taking the money out of their pocket and giving it to you. People looking down their nose like, oh, really? You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, the place I'm coming here for help, y'all making it like y'all don't want to help me. And I kind of felt like a veteran, if you will. Like I served the country and I come back and now they forgot about me. I had a neighbor that served the country and that's another show we could do on that. Cause I'm telling you, the way that the government take care of its citizens, they need to revamp the system, man. I'm serious about that. Oh, they really need to revamp the system. And it's like everybody play past the buck. Like, because we talked one time before and you said, yeah, well, that's a federal program. I said, okay, so is homelessness. The federal government gives the state money to take care of their homeless, and the state says, well, we too busy. Pass it to the counties. So every county in New York State got some money from the budget that the federal government gave them to help the homeless. And I feel like, this is my opinion, allegedly, I'm thinking that they pinching money off of the budget, the money they get from the federal government, because the state got a budget. They got too much. So I think they take some money from that program to help their budget, pass a little bit to the counties, and the counties say, well, we got a budget. And we will take some off of this. And, that's how I see it. Like the system just need to be revamped. The federal government need to get off they behinds and do what they should do for the people. Because there's no way. I'm thinking if I go in the system, I should have about 6 months. I could move on from that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want you to move on. They was only supposed to take 30% of your money in New York State. They take 80% of your money. 80% to pay for you to lay your head on a bed.
Yep. And it's not even
Now,
like it's not like it's a regular apartment, right? It's more like a hotel room, right?
yeah, well, they put me in a hotel room where the only good thing I could say about this is I got my own bathroom.
Okay.
You know, I'm not sharing that with nobody. So, you know, I keep that nice and tidy. But for me to have a meal, I got a microwave. I just got me a toaster oven, thanks to Mom. And, I got to cook there where I'm eating. And then I'm limited to what I could prepare. My case, I get food stamps also.
Yeah.
And they give you very little. I go shopping one time. It was once a month.
Mm-hmm.
I go shopping that one time. I wipe that out, right?
Yeah.
And then you got 30 days in the month. I might got 10 days of eating, okay? Because, you know, stuff you put in the refrigerator got an expiration after 10 days. You got to toss it. So I got to take that down in 10 days. And then whatever else is left, like I got oatmeal. Who wants to eat oatmeal every day? I was like, I saw good times. I didn't want to live it. And I got to eat oatmeal.
He said,
sometimes.
I don't want to live.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yo, I, every time I eat the oatmeal, I'm thinking of they farina or whatever they was eating. And sometimes you have that for dinner, you know what I mean? And it's like,
I had Kimberly for dinner.
well, you know, when your stomach and your back meet, you ain't really gonna complain too much. You gonna eat that.
Yeah.
You know, you take it down. But I got friends that look out and, you know, bring me some stuff. And I say, yo, if it wasn't for, they don't really know. And I tell them I appreciate them.
Yeah.
Because this system thing, man, yo, they got to really revamp this, man, because there's no way that we should have to live the way we live. You know, and I tell people, don't feel sorry for me and don't pity me, because I don't need none of that. I'll get through it with God on my side. You know, I had to say I've been blessed. I have come into meeting very good people, you know, and I thank God for that. But the system just sucks, man. So anybody thinking like you hitting hard times and think the system is your way out, it's really not. It's designed to keep you right where you at.
Mm-hmm. Sergio, if you don't mind, can you also speak to the issues with food affordability while having to eat a certain way with our conditions?
Okay. I'll speak for myself because I don't want to generalize for everybody. But as for myself, I have an issue with protein. My protein is below normal, and I have a nutritionist at the center that said, "Oh, you got to eat chicken, you got to eat eggs," and I was like, "I'm eating this stuff, and my protein just will not come up." So we sat down and we talked, and she was like, "Well, you should get protein drinks," and I said, "Well, food stamps don't cover that," and she's like, "Oh, okay." So I said, "Listen, I'm just give it to you straight. Like I have out of $125, that's in food stamps. I got to get whatever I could afford." Now I first started out, I was TV dinners to get a little protein in that. I had the oatmeal, that was a must. And that was basically it. If I got some cold cuts and some bread, that was it. That's all I had. So my diet don't really consist of oh, I'm gonna have chicken tonight, pork chops this night, or whatever like that. Any hot meal I had was basically off of a TV dinner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then after a while, you get tired of that, then you go on to something else.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
a lot of things that people don't think about is that those of us, especially with chronic illnesses, we also have to eat a certain way, right? So we can't just get whatever is cheap at the store. We can't just go to a food bank and go, hey, I need this, this, and that. It's like, nah, it's whatever we got. That's what you're going to get, right?
Right.
So, for instance, a lot of dialysis. A lot of people who are dietitians at dialysis, they'll hear TV dinners. They'll go, oh, no, you can't do that. Phosphorus and sodium, you can't do that. And it's like, okay, so what do? I can get some cold cuts and bread. Oh, phosphorus and sodium are definitely a no-no because it's in cold cuts and bread, right? So anything that's quick and fast has phosphorus in it. So a lot of us, you have to limit our phosphorus. Then we have to limit our sodium. But then it's like, okay, I got some bananas. Up. Too much potassium. Potassium can affect your heart. You got to watch out for that. Okay, well, let me get some tomato sauce to make some spaghetti. Oh, tomatoes. Tomato have a lot of potassium, so you got to be careful about that. So it's like every single where you go, right? There's a barrier. Boom, 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 boom. So in order to be able to eat while being on dialysis, you have to be kind of picky. But you can't afford to be picky when your food stamps are so low and your cash or your money is funny. And so there was somebody made a comment on here. Jen said, like ramen is loaded with sodium. Bingo. Like, it's cheap. I can afford it, but I can't have it because it will mess my numbers up at dialysis. It will make me super thirsty, which makes me fluid overloaded. It will have a lot of phosphorus, which means that if my phosphorus goes high, my body turns to stone. Right. And so on top of all that, then guess what? That's how it is. And a lot of times people will go, well, you just trying to be, you can't be picky because you're on food stamps. I have to. It's part of my health. So then what else do you want me to do? Right. So that's basically something that a lot of people don't take into consideration, that a lot of us also have many dietary restrictions. And then some people even have what I like to call food consistency restrictions, because some people may have dentures. Some people may have teeth that's, fragile and brittle, so they can't eat certain things. I have family members that have dentures, but they can only eat certain things. And then, so that adds on top of what they can and can't have. So a lot of people don't take this into consideration too.
Yeah, they really don't. Like I went through, I'm on my third nutritionist. I like her better than the other ones because she's more realistic and she understands. And I said, I appreciate you, because the other people was like, this is no. And I'm like, okay, I take binders for the phosphorus, because she's a realist. Like I said, she's like, phosphorus is in everything. So she said, take the pill with anything you eat.
Bruh,
so I was like, okay.
I know, man.
Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. So I'm with that. And I was like, okay, so at least you're helping me with the food, because we really don't have a choice. Now, this is funny. She gave me a list for the renal diet, which is, if you're on dialysis, it's a renal diet. Mm-hmm. And then I got a diabetic diet. Do you know, in that I was confused? So it was like 1 week I was eating for the diabetes. The other week I was eating for the renal. And then one day when she came and I said, listen, I got a question. And she said, yeah, I like when you have questions. So I said, yeah, well, listen, I'm a diabetic also. And I said, so which diet do I follow? She said, renal trumps everything. So now with the diabetes, you can't eat white rice, but they said you can have brown rice. The renal diet, you can't eat brown rice, but you can have white rice. So I was like going this way, like, yo, what do I do? I don't know what to do. So she said, yeah, the renal trumps everything. So now when I look at and compare the two, I was like, okay, the renal dye is going to just throw my shit up.
Yeah. Because if you ask an endocrinologist, they're going to be like, no. Don't you dare touch that white rice. But then the nephrologist is going to be like, no. Don't touch that brown rice because it's higher in potassium. So it's just like, it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yes. And I be feeling like that because I was like, I was getting bread. It was like, okay, the dialysis say eat white bread. Diabetes said eat the brown bread, the whole wheat. Mm-hmm. Whole wheat is not good for dialysis patients. Whatever it does, they said no, don't eat whole wheat. So I'm like, well, I mean, then what are you telling me? Just get in the casket and just give up? You know, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. But I was like, yo, we got to come to something. So she, she gave me the phosphorus pills, the calcium acetate. It's the ones I take. Okay, and they work pretty good. And when we do blood work once a month. Yeah. And they saw the numbers were great. They said the only issue I got with you now is your protein. Yeah. I said, look, my protein just been low for the longest. I don't know what to tell you. I eat stuff with protein in it. And that's why I had told them, like, one of my symptoms were like I'm up energetic. And once I do something, it's like somebody beat the crap out of me. And like I got nothing. I wait a while, it comes back a little bit, and then it goes out again. So they never heard that. And then when she saw the protein, she said, yeah, that could be what it is. And I said, well, yeah, I think I was like, it's just hard with this. People treat you like you're less than. People think that like I got my access in my arm. Yeah. So I'm like a one-armed bandit, like some people say. You too? Okay. So you know how it feels when that arm when you push it too much, and it feels like the access is about to pop out of the artery or whatever. So I stop and I always ice it up.
Yeah, this is why and they told me many times that you cannot lift more than 10 pounds with that arm. Yeah, that's why I never lift more than 10 pounds with this arm.
Yeah, my mother got on me. I was she took me to the store and I picked up something, and I have this habit. I'm right-handed, but I always was build up my lesser arm to be equal to my dominant arm. Mm-hmm. And I picked up the bag, and she yelled at me, and I dropped it. And I was like, "What happened?" She said, "There you go, picking up with that arm." And I was like, it's just a habit. Yeah. I always start off with my left and come back and bring it in with the right. And I said, Mom, it's just a habit, But she, I get it. She looking out, and she's like, "Yo, that thing pop out." You said 5 minutes, nobody can save. And I keep that in mind. So it's a struggle, but you know what I'm saying? I do what I have to do, but it's just more so I just don't want people to think like be duped like I was, thinking like the system is here to help you and the system would just tear you down to nothing. Yeah. Where you need them. And let me tell you what they did to me like 2 weeks ago. I paid for my my share of the housing. Mm-hmm. They don't give me traveling expenses. They said, well, you make too much money. And they called me. Yeah. They told me I make too much money. They said, so you have enough money to get around on your own. And I'm like, all right. I didn't argue with them. So they had this setup where you put your money in the money order. You could pay it to the front desk. They have somebody that comes around and pick up the money orders and drop their money off. I already paid the front desk their money. And I get a call after I did it. You're scheduled to come down here to bring money with you when you come. I'm telling the lady, I already paid them because my worker told me to go back to paying them at the front desk like I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't come down there, they had the guy come pick up the money orders, drop off their money, and they didn't pay for my stay at the motel. So now I know something's wrong because every time I leave the room to come back, my key don't work for me to get into the room. So I got to go down to the front desk and, you refresh my key. Now, the people that I deal with here, they love me. They try to do things so I don't have to, I don't have to make that trip to go up there. They try to take care of everything for me in the front desk. And I appreciate them for that.
Mm-hmm.
But because I didn't go down there, they didn't send my money back here. So the people had an attitude. So every other day, I'm refreshing the key to get in the room. So when I saw the people that I dealt with, I asked them, I said, did y'all get paid? And they said, no. I said, all right, I'm going to refresh my key. I said, when I get up to the room, I'm going to call them. I said, do me a favor, y'all call them also. Because I called them 2 weeks ago. They never returned my call. So I'm calling them. Huh?
These are the people that's supposed to pay the front desk.
Yeah, the people that are at DSS, right? They're supposed to send them a check. And
okay.
I'm calling them. They're not answering my call. The lady calls, they pick up the phone and talk to her. So she was upset, and because I just finished talking to her, of course, so she was upset. So she was like, I demand payment for him. And they was like, okay, because she told him, your guy came and picked up his money order. Why y'all didn't pay for his room? So, okay. They said, we'll take care of that right now. Mm-hmm. Said, okay. All of a sudden, my phone rings. It's DSS calling. So I answered the phone like, hello? It's like, yeah, it's your responsibility to bring us our money. I said, yo, y'all got y'all money. Your guy came and picked it up. So the lady not talking to me, she's talking at me, dismissing me like I'm a pain in the behind, like I'm a waste of her time. And I'm trying to tell her, look, my worker told me, look, next month, get here. Click, hung up the phone. Now, anybody that knows me, I'm a mild-mannered guy. Mm-hmm. But hang up on me like that, I was ready to go down there to see her. And I was so hot. And I said, yo, see, this is the setup. You get them mad enough to where they don't want to deal with this. They won't recertify. They'll leave. Now, before I got into this situation, I used to talk to homeless people and ask them, like I said, this may be stupid, but why are you homeless? Mm. And all they kept saying to me was, yo, the system. That's why I call it the system. They say the system. They said you work, you buy a house, you pay the house off 30-year loan. After that, you at risk of losing your house if you don't pay the taxes. Mm. So they got fed up with the system and just said, yo, I'm just better off just staying out here on the street. At least my money's my money. I don't have to deal with the bureaucracy of, the system. And I said, yeah, it makes sense. So a lot of people are not homeless because they're just lazy. How, the system would say we're lazy people. And it's not because they're lazy. It's because they have so much red tape and like they don't want to see you win, because if everybody win, what do we need them for? Good point. And it's just set up so I was already fed up. I was to that point. I was like, I'm not recertifying. I'm just getting out of here. Mm-hmm. That's because I was mad. Yeah. Now that I'm calmed down and now I'm dissecting and looking at it and watching shows like yours and Savvy's and every, you know, people like that, talking to Roger, also Roger Miller. What's up, Roger? I forgot. I forget you. You know, talking to him, you know, I calmed down and then I start seeing things. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not a quitter and you want me to quit. And then it's like, it's not enough people out here fighting for us. You know, I just like, you know, what solution? If I knew who to talk to, I would talk to them and tell them, yo, y'all need to really revamp this system, because it makes no sense for people like in our situation. I can't even really, I gotta have a limited relationship, because I feel like I'm living in that. I don't know if anybody ever saw that movie Claudine with James Earl Jones and what's her name, Diana Carroll, where she was on welfare, and whenever the welfare people came by the house, they had to hide the iron, they had to hide all the appliances. She had to get rid of him, because if they saw that, oh, you have somebody helping you in the household, they ready to kick you off. You know what I'm saying? I can't get close to nobody, because just as soon as I do, and they try to help me out, they was like, oh, well, you got more money than you normally have. Oh, well, then we're going to cut this. As a matter of fact, well, you can make it without it. So they going to cut you off.
So, okay. So for anybody who is not in the position that people like us are in, right? Those of us who are, like, for instance, people like myself, I get food stamps, things like that, right? When you apply for Medicare and like state Medicaid, things like that, they want your bank account. They want to know exactly how much you got in your bank account. They want to know if you have any ownership of anything, like a car, home. They want to know if you have any investments, anything like that. And it's not like if you have like, oh, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars or anything like that. Even if you cannot have on disability more than $2,000 in a checking or savings account at one time. Because if you have more than $2,000 in your savings, if you have more than $2,000, Social Security disability say, you're not disabled no more. We out. There's also a policy where if you're on Social Security disability, now I think it's somewhere around $1,300, maybe $1,400. I can't remember. I have to look it up now. But at the time, it was about $1,200, like $1,241, something like that. If you are working and if you earn more than that $1,200 in a month, and it's consistent for 6 months to a year, Social Security will look at that and go, you're making too much. Even if you go 1 cent over, you're making too much. We're taking your entire disability benefits and we're cutting you off. And the crazy part is, it's not like it's prorated. Like if you make, like, let's say I make $100 over, or they're going to say, oh, we're just going to take $50 away. Or if you make $100 over, we're going to take $100 away. It's nothing like that. It's like, if you make 1 cent over, we're taking your entire disability check away, meaning your entire principal income is gone.
Yep.
That's how the system works. And so so even if you're trying to save up money, now they do have some programs, right, that you have to apply for. It's not automatic. And then another thing I always ask people is, why is it that when somebody who's on Social Security disability, why are they never automatically enrolled into Section 8 or any type of housing programs automatically?
You would think that that's what they would do. I thought I was. my worker sent me a letter and said, "Do this now." Open it up, and it was a waiting list for Section 8. It
A
wasn't
waiting,
Section 8 just taking you right now. Oh, you're on the waiting list.
a waiting
If
list.
you, yeah,
And
if you're lucky
how
to
long is
be,
the waiting
I'm still waiting.
list?
People, people,
That's the
people
thing.
been on that. People been on that before I even got hip to it, and they still waiting. They said, "Oh, we're closed right now, but when we open up, if you're the lucky recipient of the first 400,
Lucky
we'll
recipient.
deal with you."
There you go.
Yeah. So
So
that's what that is.
roll the dice and pray to Lady Luck that you actually receive Section 8. So guess what? Even though it is not your fault that you're in the situation that you're in, you have to pray to the gods of the capitalist system that they actually pick you so that you can actually have a place to live.
Yeah. Yes. And that's what it is right now. I am on a waiting list for New York. I'm on a waiting list for Massachusetts. I'm on a waiting list. I just been putting them in wherever I see them, and I feel like whoever called me, that's where I'm meant to be. And I hear some like what they're doing now is they trying to put Section 8 people in upper class neighborhoods now. So I was like, well, that's a good thing. They trying to make it I forgot what they call it, but they're putting Section 8 like over here where we at. Section 8 is going into like Garden City, Mineola, stuff like that. That's where the other half live that's living on a higher scale. So they doing stuff like that now. But I was just like just to make ends meet though. With that, I won't do nothing on the books because I already know I get on the books, I'm gonna be over, and then I'm gonna lose that. And then with me losing that, losing my my social security, with me losing that, and then to take a job, I won't have no money messing with the DSS because they're gonna take the whole thing.
Yeah.
Whatever I make, they taking that.
Yeah. And then on top of it, those of us who are dialysis patients, some people can work after dialysis. Some, not all of us. I'm good for nothing after dialysis.
You're not alone.
Yeah. And so just to give you a little bit of a background, from 2016 to mid 2019, I think it was, I was working, right? And I worked, and you can vouch for this. Being on dialysis is like having a job because when you get home, you're exhausted, right?
Yes.
And you're 3 times a week. For me, my treatment time is 4 hours and 45 minutes.
Well,
so I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and by the time I get home is noon. Now, when I was working, I would work 4 days a week and then have dialysis 3 days a week. That's 7 days without a break whatsoever. I did that for over 2 years to the point where my body was saying stop. I literally had pains while I was at work because I was working and going to dialysis. And then some people go, well, you can work more if you just, came to work after dialysis. And I'm like, I am beyond exhausted. And they're like, you just have to get used to it. These are people, these are able-bodied people going, well, you just have to get used to it. Or they'll go, well, my friend did this and they were successful in doing it. And I'm like, not everybody is the exact same.
Right.
And so I did that for 2 years, and my body literally said stop. My body forced me to stop. And then on top of it, I was making slightly over what I was supposed to earn on disability. And next thing you know, Social Security said, nope. Next thing you know, my principal income that I had completely was taken away. So I literally had to quit my job just so that I can keep my principal income.
You know what kills me is when they take it from you, they quick to have it in a little sentence. You could reapply once your circumstances change. I was like, really? Really? They kill me. I was also I've done some of everything. My major love was I love tinkling with cars. And it got to where I couldn't even change a tire. I mean, after dialysis, I had a flat. I'm out there trying to break the nut. I couldn't even. I'm standing on the wrench, full body, and I ain't a Twinkie. I'm standing on the wrench with everything I got, and I'm standing in the air like, yo, this thing is not moving.
Yeah.
I had to call, my son. It came and broke that, and I literally hugged him because I was like, you don't know, but you my hero right now.
Yeah.
Because people who see you in a situation, they not knowing, but my car is at a dialysis center. Like, seriously, people coming out seeing me. Only one guy tried to help and he couldn't even break it. And he just got off the machine too. And I was like, bro, if I couldn't break it, I know you ain't breaking it. Yeah. But I literally hugged my son and said, yo, you don't realize you're a hero to me right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I can't even do this little simple thing anymore.
Yeah.
Mm. It takes a lot from you, going through dialysis. It's like I was looking at a time I reflected and I was like, dang, this time last year, I could do this and that. This year, I don't even walk the same. Now, I walk with a cane. Not that I need it, but sometimes, you get winded and I need the cane to prop myself up. Tell you what happened to me to get DSS Day money. I got a 7-Eleven around the corner from where I do dialysis. Yeah. They ATM don't charge me no money to take money out.
Okay.
So that's why I went there. And I'm walking around there and I got so tired and dizzy, I fell out in the parking lot. Do you know? People walked past me, stepped over me like I belonged where I was laying. And I was like, I'm not even dressed like stain in my clothes and holes in my pants and none of that. I'm dressed decent. And I'm just looking up like somebody would say, yo, you all right? Yo, just sit me up or something. Nothing. Everybody's walking by. So my ambulance driver was coming to pick me up, and he was like, "Hey Johnson, you still at 7-Eleven?" I said, "Yeah, I'm in the parking lot, laying on the ground. I didn't even get in the store yet." 2 minutes, he's pulling in, rushing in like SWAT. Like, you all right? You all right? Helping me up, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I got to go in the store." He walks me in the store, and I'm telling him, like, "Yo, people out here are really heartless. They just lovers of themselves. Like, yo, you ain't benefiting me to just say, hey, man, you all right? Yo, let me sit you up." Yeah, I'm like laying down, like trying to just get myself together. And it's just like, maybe it needed to happen that way. Cause I was like, if I had the money on me, ain't no telling anybody checking me could have went in my pockets and took the money. I wasn't in a condition where I could have defended myself. So in a way, I was kind of glad that it happened before I got to the money. So it turned out that way, but it's the dialysis beat you. I know after I hit a treatment, and when I get in the room, the first thing I do is collapse on the bed, coat and all. I don't take nothing off until after I feel better a little bit. I got up one time thinking I was okay and fainted and hit the floor. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's something.
Yeah.
It really
Just
is.
just to answer the question, because some people are like, what is dialysis? Somebody from Twitch, Posh Panda 8 says, what is dialysis? So just as an explanation, dialysis, or kidney dialysis as is typically known as, is when a treatment where your kidneys are no longer functioning. So therefore your body needs that kidney function to happen so that it filters the blood. It also restores the pH balance within your body, as well as it removes the impurities outside of your body and sends them to your bladder so that you can execute them. When your kidneys are no longer working, then that buildup of impurities still accumulates within the body. It has no place to go. And so because of that, you have to have an artificial kidney, which is known as a dialyzer, that your blood has to go through, or you have, there's different kinds of dialysis, but I'm sticking to hemodialysis right now. And so hemodialysis means that the blood from your body is taken, put through a dialyzer, and it's done through a reverse osmosis process where the fluids, excess fluid, as well as impurities is taken out from the blood. And then that clean blood is put back inside your body. And so
Mhm.
depending on the person, depending on the size and depending on the severity of their kidney function, from having zero kidney function to having at a certain level, which they deem you to have dialysis, what ends up happening is that determines how long you're having the treatments and how frequent you're having the treatments throughout the week. For people who are on dialysis, it is also an extremely draining process, meaning some people will say, oh, well, I feel like I just got off of work. That's how tired I am. For some of us, it is so exhausting to the point where we can barely keep our head up. Even sitting like this is exhausting,
Yes.
right?
And the look, like I'm a happy-go-lucky guy,
Yeah,
but when I am feeling like crap, it shows because everybody, yo, you need an ambulance? And I'm like, nah, I'm like, Dad, I look that bad? And it was like, yo, man, you look like you went through it and then some. And it's just the way it makes you look. You feel even worse. I tell people all the time, like a little toddler can come and beat me up
yeah,
and they would win. They would
yeah,
literally
yep,
win. They
yep.
would
That's how
literally
tired you
win.
are. Yeah, all they got
It's
to go
like,
is all over.
yeah, you have nothing. You have
Mhm.
nothing. I'd
Yep.
be lucky if I could put my hand up to stop the little kid from hitting me. And if they did get in and hit me, it would hurt.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not even gonna hold you. It would hurt. And
yep,
I was like, yo, you don't have to beat me. Put your little kid on me.
yep.
If you want to do that, because yo, you might kill me. So let the little kid do it. I'll feel the
Mhm.
pain. Trust me. Yo,
Yeah,
you be wiped out like that.
yeah.
Just
A
like
3-year-old
that.
can kick my ass.
Yeah. I tell them all the time, like, yo, man, just put your little toddler on me, man. I said, yo, they got it. They got it. I tell my kids too. I said, look, you may one day hear your father say, yo, you
Mhm.
got it. I don't want no smoke. We ain't got to move no furniture. I said, that
Mhm.
don't mean that I'm a punk.
Yeah,
I said, I know what I'm going through, and trust
yeah,
me, I don't want that added stress to for how I'm feeling.
yeah.
I was like, I'll even apologize to you if I was like, hey, I might have came across wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm already on that humble wagon right now because I was like, yo, I don't want to say the wrong thing to the person, anybody, and they grabbed me by my shirt, and I'm like, yo, man, you see, I'm light. Why you want to hit me? You know what
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, the thing is like when it comes to being a dialysis patient and being in this system, I think what a lot of people don't get is that there are some of us that are we are trying to be okay, but even just trying to be okay is a job in itself,
I mean?
right?
Yeah.
Like somebody like myself, I get food stamps, but what's $30 a month? Like that's like for instance, $30, that's what, 2 meals, right? And then on top of it, for me, I get I get paratransit service, but I have to still pay a copay for that. So
Yeah.
that's money that goes, right? Then on
Hmm.
top of it, some of us still have to pay for our meds. Our meds are expensive. Let me share with
Yes.
y'all something. I'm gonna show you something. You see, is it in here? I think I have it. Oh, here it is. I'm gonna share y'all something. Because a lot of times people will look at me and go, well, this isn't that much. Um, let me share. And thank God this is the amount that it is. But I want you guys to research. You guys can do research or what have you. This is a medication that I have to take, right? So that my dialysis access does not clot. Because once this clots, then I have to go to the hospital and I actually literally have to have a tube put inside me called a perm cath, right? That perm cath is there so that I can have dialysis, because without that and without this access, I die. 2 weeks, I'm
Right.
dead, right? Now, because I have to take this medication and go see a vascular surgeon, this medication by itself is around $500 a month. Thank goodness for Medicaid and Medicare, because without it, I'd be $500 per month in the hole without this. This is a 30-day supply, $500. Go ahead and look it up. Eliquis, 5 milligrams, $500. Now, here's the crazy part. Some people have to pay, you know, $50, $60, $70 for it, even with insurance. But that's the weird part. Like, some of us may not be able to do, have it for free like I can. Some people may not be able to do that. Some people have copays to pay. And so what are they to do? And if they're in the same situation as me, or let's say hypothetically they get themselves a job, but they can only make so much per hour until they get their disability taken away. So, and also I wanted to share this. Let me share this really quick, because I think this is also really important. You were talking about the living situation.
Hmm.
Thank God for Roger for this too. This is this is Florida. Let me go to New York, because this shows how much you need to make in order to live in a 2-bedroom in New York. So let's share this, and let me enlarge this. All right. So this is facts in New York, right? So you need to make $40.08 per hour for housing, right? The minimum wage currently in New York is $14.20. Right?
That's a joke.
Yeah, which is a joke. So for a 1-bedroom, it's $1,811. Right? So the crazy part is that's how much you need to pay in order for a 1-bedroom, typically.
And mind you,
So
that is not with utilities.
yeah, that's not utilities. And the average of a person that gets Social Security disability is around $1,000.
If he's lucky.
If you're lucky. And so who gets the equivalent of $40.08 an hour? to afford a 2-bedroom?
Well, it
Because
ain't
I
me.
sure as hell don't.
Yeah, I was saying it ain't me. And if anybody got tips of where I could go, please put it in the comments. I'm there. This sucks, man. Yo, they act like they taking the money out of their pocket to give to you, and
Mhm.
and that's not even the case, and it just doesn't even make sense. Like the like the food stamp thing. At least to alleviate some of the pain, they should do the food stamps every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
You
Now,
know, at least you know you get to go see the grocery store at least twice a month.
let me share this with y'all. All right. So, if in New York you need to make $40.08 an hour to afford a 2-bedroom apartment in New York, that means you need to make $64,012.80, right? Well, if somebody who's on Social Security disability is only getting about $1,000, if they're lucky, then they don't even make that within 6 months.
Mm-mm.
They don't even make that much in 6 months.
6 grand.
So, how are we able to live if we can't even get on housing? We have to be put on the list. So, therefore, of course, a lot of us who are disabled are homeless. Of course, because we can't afford to live. Now, let me
They
show
don't
y'all.
want you to.
Let me show you guys, because I'm gonna show y'all Florida. That's where I live. Because a lot of people are like, well, you can just move to a cheaper state. It don't work like that. Let me show
Nope.
you. Let me see. All right. Share Florida. So in Florida, you need to make $30.59 per hour in order to afford a 2-bedroom in Florida. Right? So $30.59 an hour times 160 hours, because that's 40 hours a week. That's $4,894.40. So, with that being said, if you're only getting about $1,000, if you're lucky, in Social Security disability, how in the world are you going to be able to afford a 2-bedroom apartment in Florida?
Can't do it.
You want to know something about me? The amount of money I get in disability doesn't even cover my rent.
Me neither.
My rent, actually, no. I think my rent is just higher than my disability benefits. So that doesn't account for electricity. That doesn't account for food. That doesn't account for, utilities, food, transportation, any of that.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild.
But they tell you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and
Don't
make it a go. And I'm like, how can I? You know, I hear some of these politicians crying, we got to shrink government. And you know, and I'm saying to myself, yeah, you want to shrink it now because you already made it. You don't want
Yeah.
nobody else to come along and become the new millionaire, the new hot thing out here. You know, and I'm like, yo, these politicians, as I said to Roger this morning, yo, they're a joke. And you know, we was talking about some politicians who are flat, you know, just like just boring. And
Yeah.
you wouldn't give them the time of day. I said, yeah, well, that's why they look for guys like John F. Kennedy and Barack Obama. Like they had a little pizzazz that could snatch the crowd up and get them excited. And I was like, you know, but he had pulled my coat chain to something that I didn't know, that the president don't really need Congress like that. He was telling me that they passed a whole bunch of laws that they are not even enforcing to this day. All the president got to do is go in there and enforce the laws that are already on the books. He could do away. He could have got us at the time when it was Medicare for all. The president could have did that, which would have helped everybody.
Yep.
You know, he said it was like laws that something he was saying, and I was like, yeah, well, why don't the president just do that? Well, you know, because they in pharmaceuticals pockets and
yep.
you know, the lobbyists and stuff like that. So I'm like, they selling us out for a little bit of money under the table. When I got into watching politics, thanks to Ed Schultz, God bless him, may he rest in peace. Me and Raj turned me on to him, and I'm looking at some of the things he's saying and watching his show. Like MSNBC at that time was a much-watched system, from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. I was tuned into that. And he said these lobbyists only paying these politicians like $5,000, and I was like, they selling us out that cheap? I was pissed when I heard that. I was like, yo, man, at least get $100,000 or something. Like you selling us for 5,000?
Give me a Bugatti or something.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, let me know I was worth something. 5,000.
Yeah,
I was like, yo,
only 5 bones. You mean that's all you're gonna sell me out for? If you're gonna sell me out, at least make it worth it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, geez, like I said maybe I should be a politician, but I wouldn't want to sell out to people. I really think the people. Roger's on this ballot initiative, and I'm gonna tell you before he tell anybody in the YouTube, I hear it first, and he drilled it in me till like I know it, and I'm like, you know what, that's the way to go. Yeah. Before he put it out there, he run it by me, and I'm telling you, tweak this a little bit, you know, less of that, you got it. And I agree with him. Ballot initiatives is the way to go. Now, we don't have it here in New York, but if the other states that got it would exercise theirs, the states that don't have it would get it, then Roger could show y'all exactly what to do with it. Because he got ideas up the wazoo of what he would like to do, and it would help everybody. Because, you know, you can't look to the politician, because now you think about the politician, he got to be that guy in high school, the popular kid, because he's dealing with other senators or other congressmen throughout the state. You got to gravitate them to your side to get your idea pushed. If the guy ain't got none of that coolness, his ideas ain't going nowhere. With the ballot initiative, the people would do it. The politician will run to your idea. And if you don't believe me, look at when Donald Trump was in office, right? We had people marching and protesting. Women actually started a lot of that. This wasn't right, that wasn't right. They was marching and protesting. Who joined their marches? The Democrats did. They in the crowd. Yeah, that's not right. The Republicans are wrong for that. Like, they're on our side. And once the end of the march came, we looked to them, but what y'all gonna do now? They like, well, I don't know. What are y'all gonna get mad about next? That ain't how it's supposed to work. If y'all supposed to be helping run the country, you're supposed to know what your people want and need. Y'all not executing it because y'all busy ducking down, taking that money under the table. Oh, don't do it, right? Just to make sure. The Republicans are paid to do, we're paid not to do. So the Democrats are telling you, hey, we'll tell the people, we're fighting for you. We're on your side. They ain't doing nothing for you. Because if you was on my side, I wouldn't be in this situation like that. My situation should be a piece of cake right now. They say, oh, you're disabled. Oh, you have a chronic illness. Okay, but we're going to do this for you to give you a better quality of life, or something like that. They're not doing that. They was like, all right, well, oh, you still kicking? This is how I feel when I call my workers and they don't answer. I'll leave them a message, and I be nasty, like, I'm still living, so you can call me back if you like. 2 weeks I ain't heard from them. So I guess they think if I don't show up next month, oh, he they looking for a death certificate. No, I'm not making it that easy for you. I'm gonna be a pain in y'all behind, just like y'all being for me on the. Got people thinking, oh, the system, the government, we're here to help our people. Y'all not here to help nobody. Nothing at all. And I didn't know my situation would be the way it is, because other people that was in the system didn't tell me the intricacies of what you got to go through to get a little something.
Yeah.
I just know they had it. I'm looking at them after the fact. I took my neighbor, he passed away too, but he was in the military, and I had to take him to the VA hospital. So I took him. I'm in awe when I'm walking through there because I'm seeing a lot of history. So I love history, and I'm like, wow, this and that. Next time I took him, I started talking to the veterans, getting what you here for, and all this, that, and the third. And stories they was telling me was like, hold up, you serve the country and they treat you like this? Like, it ain't just a homeless thing. People even that got homes and fighting to try to keep their homes, but the system just need to be revamped. I'm just saying the whole thing. The government needs to really step up, take care of their citizens, and make it like everybody deserve everybody deserve to have a good life, a piece of a good life. It's something that they shouldn't have to fight so hard to try to maintain. The immigrants that are coming here to New York, at one point I was mad because they getting 4 and 5 star hotels. They getting 3 hot meals. They getting to roam around. They not subject to what we are subject to living in a shelter. And I got mad at that. But yet the other side of me, but everybody deserves to have a good quality of life. But these people, they not talking about the people that staying at the hotels and everything like that. They don't talk about that. Oh, hold on 1 second. Okay, thank you, buddy. Okay. Oh, okay. See, it was my housekeeper was just bringing me some mail. Oh, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. But just wanted to harp on the point about a lot of immigrants that are coming in, that it seems like that they're getting better treatment within our country compared to a lot of us who are maybe disadvantaged. And I look at it like African tribes and colonialism. What colonizers will do is that they'll come into an African tribe and they will make one tribe, they'll have it better, they'll provide for that tribe to have it better than the other tribe, to cause division between the tribes. So then there's strife. There's people against one another. Right. So you have immigrants that'll come from Honduras, Guatemala, they'll come from Cuba, they'll come from El Salvador, what have you, right? And they'll travel here, and then they'll get somewhat better treatment than even some of us. And then we see that, and then it'll cause resentment among many of us, even though they're also poor, they're also disenfranchised because of a lot of the policies that the United States have done. And
Mm-hmm.
so now that it creates the division. So then we start to breed, xenophobia, but then they also start to breed and start to believe, oh, well, the black people in this country or the poor people in this country, they're just lazy. They haven't gotten it because they haven't did what we did, right? And so now there's a division that's created between the workers that immigrated here versus the workers that are here. And it's all because of a system that pits us against one another. So then we're like, oh man, they're getting better. Like, oh, the Latinos, they're doing so much better in this country because they travel here. But it's all by design to keep us against one another. And that's something that I've noticed. And so when we start to actually come together with the immigrants and then the poor people in this country, and then we start to, hey, you're being screwed over too. It's just in a different way. Just like we're being screwed over. Let's team up. And that's when they get scared. And that's one thing I noticed. And the thing is, it's almost like being a little kid. You have two little kids, one's being treated horribly, and then one's being treated better. But it's not necessarily that little kid's fault that they're being treated better. It's the parent that's being abusive to one and treating the other one better.
Favorable,
yeah.
That's why I tell Raj, you got to say system, because systematically, that's exactly what they do. Now, you touch on something that's something that a lot of people might not be aware of, but under the black umbrella, if you're not white, they throw you under the black umbrella. Now, those are the people you just mentioned that comes in, that's tossed under our umbrella. They help them. White America says, oh, well, we're doing for the blacks. No, you're not. Because when Joe Biden had those Afghanistan people that they was bringing from Afghanistan over here, that he was getting them out of there, they went to New Jersey. In New Jersey, they got a check for $250,000 and a place to stay. They got a community over there. That was put under our umbrella, so they was helping the blacks. I said no, because if they was to really come and ask me, I would say my people ain't getting nothing. And this is not to, like I said, everybody deserves a fair quality of life, but when are we going to get ours? I mean, specifically for the black people. They'll do for any other people they put under our umbrella, and they rise over us, and we still stay at the bottom. We're a footstool for everybody else. And what's his name? Phil Scott. If I'm saying it right, Rob. Phil Scott.
Yeah.
This guy, he got a podcast. I love him. When he just bring it out. He talking about Chicago. Rod sent me a link where he a lady from the civil rights era in that movie, because I tell people you gotta gauge your audience. The older people, older than us, I'm 55, older than me are in civil rights, right? So I know all they care about is they want to see people that look like them in those positions. So I say, I'm happy that y'all got to see that. But I said, now what y'all got to do is get with the millennials and Gen Zs. They don't care if you look like us. They want the ones that's doing something for us. I said, that's what it is now.
Yeah,
right? Exactly. That's what it is now. I told them, I don't care that you look like me, as you looking out for me is what I care about. And they seem to want to fatten their pockets and make sure they good. That was that guy in South Carolina, Jim Clyburn. Something I hear about him in the poorest district. But yeah, he rich though.
He rich.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And a fish fry ain't doing all that. I don't care what you say. I could fry fish and it ain't making me rich. But you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I tell the people, and I agree. Republicans, Democrats, ain't gonna do nothing for you. One is paid to do, one is paid not to do. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Independent is the way to go. Where you hear a good idea and you see where you could benefit from it, go that way. You know,
Mm-hmm.
third party. I'm voting third party. I can't say who yet, but I know it won't be a Democrat or Republican. I might even have to write in a name. And if everybody can hear me on this screen, Cornel West, if you if you don't make it, and anybody there you don't like, let's all just write in Cornel West. Let's see what happens. Maybe he'll get the seat anyway. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna show Jim Clyburn real quick. I'm gonna show you Jim Clyburn. Just to anybody who doesn't know, this is Jim Clyburn.
Yeah.
That's Jim
him.
Clyburn. That's what I think about him. Because
he looks like us, but he ain't doing nothing for us, man.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope. So yeah. But yeah, so that's what we're going through, and of course, you know, I hope and wish you so much better than what you're getting in the system. I hope so much better for everybody, and that's why mutual aid and you know, focusing on things that we have the power to do. For instance, you brought up ballot initiatives, which is very important. I think that is some of the things that we can also talk about, and you know, build class consciousness and community with our community members so that we are able to move for a better system to change the system itself. So I just want to thank you for coming on, man, and speaking your truth and basically letting people know what was what and what we're dealing with in this country too.
Yeah, hey man, thank you for having me, and you know, I'm here for you, and I wish you all the best as well. And what I do for me, I also do for you. So
thank you.
I know the struggle is real. People believe me when you know, I'm not begging for any assistance or nothing, but like sometimes we really don't know what a person is dealing with, going through, or whatever. You know, just to check on them. You know, don't mean you got to come out your pocket, but you know, maybe just sit them up if you see them laying down. You know, any little thing, man. It's just like, it's just sad that we have to endure this, and people get the misconception that, oh, we lazy, we just looking for free handouts. Now, not all of us are like that. I know there are con artists out here, and you got to be very discerning on who you assist. And me, I'd rather work for mine, but due to my health status, I gotta get in this boat. And you know, I will, anything I come up against, JB, I would gladly like to hit you up and give you an idea. Maybe we could talk about and try to get something happening with the or you find out who to talk to. I'll talk to the person or get the ball rolling that we need to change this system. That's just the main thing. We shouldn't live like we living. People shouldn't think the worst of us, like we don't want better. We deserve better. And I might not live to see it, but we gonna get better.
Yeah,
that I guarantee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, before you go, Roger wanted me to ask you this question. He said, JB, don't forget to ask about the plant, the gun, and his brother. What is Roger talking about?
Roger's yeah, okay, I'll tell you this. I will talk to you off camera with that, because it might send people the wrong message with that. But I told Raj that it was something about a weed plant. My brother had a weed plant, and he was growing. It was growing beautiful in the backyard. And somebody helped themselves to it, and it was needless to say, my brother was real tight, and you know, I'll talk to you about that off the camera. Raj, that's dirty, man. Okay. That's dirty, Raj.
All right. All right, man. It was so good to see you, Serge. It's so nice to, put your face along with your voice. And so keep speaking out. And is there any way that anybody can offer you any type of assistance at all that you have, that people that you could like to share or things like that?
Well, help me right now, please. That's at JB Time 3. No, I'm just kidding. JB, I'm just joking. Nah, man. I got a support system. Like I said, I still got family around here, and every now and again, they hit me off, and I thank God for that. But nah, I'm good. If anything, though, y'all get in touch with him if anybody know who I could talk to start shaking up the system, because I really want to rattle their cages, because this right here is a pet peeve for me. Like, I
Gotcha.
just get mad, you know. But thanks for having me, man. And it was like good seeing you. And I'm here for you. Yo, reach out anytime you need me, bro. I am here.
Yep, definitely. Same here, man. Thank you so very much for coming on. Appreciate it. And it was a privilege to have you, by the way.
That was a privilege for me to be on, man. I like this. Keep
All right.
doing what you're doing. Bring it to the people, and let's start getting solutions. Like, we know our problem. Let's start bringing solutions to the table, and each one teach one. We execute it, put it in effect, and
Yep,
things will change.
definitely. All right, bro. Take care.
All right, man. All right, be good.
All right, bye.
All right.
All right, everybody. That was a wonderful conversation. I'm so glad that so many people were able to be here and hear from our experiences and what we go through as kidney dialysis patients, as people with chronic illnesses in this country. I think a lot of people really need to hear that so that they know, oh my gosh, this is really happening. This should not be happening in this country, especially a country that has as much wealth that it does. And so thanks a lot to Sergio for joining. I will definitely have Sergio back on again. We got to have him back on to talk about what's going on, because a lot of times people don't peep game anymore when it comes to this system, because we're so blinded by what the politicians and what the ultra rich put in front of our face and say, oh, well, everything's good. And it's like, nah, it hasn't been good for a long time. So thank you so very much for that. If you guys have not already, please make sure to give the stream a like. And if you guys have not already, then you guys subscribe to my Substack at jaybefaunt.substack.com, so you're aware of whenever I have clips, live streams, or articles, so you guys have that as well. I'm going to go into the chat, but before I do that, just want to give a shout out to the patrons on Patreon, as well as on Coffee, and anybody that sends me anything via PayPal for mutual aid. Thank you so very much. Yes, I am demonetized, so just so that you guys are aware, you guys can go to either Patreon or PayPal as well. And a big shout out to the patrons on Patreon. For without you guys, I would not be able to do this type of work, as well as patrons on Coffee. So thank you so very much. I got to update that list. I keep forgetting to do it, but thank you. And just to share with you guys the tiers on my Patreon as well, so that you guys know what you're getting. So let me share this. All right, so you guys can become JB members: Solidarity, Comrade, Jaybefaunters, Super Jaybefaunters, Super Duper Jaybefaunters, and Mega Jaybefaunters. So thank you so very much to everybody that has contributed to the channel as well. And also, if you guys are able to, if you guys would like to, you guys can donate to Orlando Mutual Aid. We are actually doing an action in December. We're trying to raise $3,000. You guys can go to Cash App, $Orlando RBN. You guys can donate to that, because we're giving out groceries grocery gift cards, toiletries, and warm clothes so that you guys can assist us with that to help out our homeless neighbors here in Orlando, Florida. And anybody that sends anything is deeply appreciated because people are really hurting out here. So thank you so very much for that. Now, let's get into the chat. I'm going to start off with Rockfin first because I want to make sure, because I know Roger got some things to say. Oh, Raj, your name was invoked many times in this in a loving way. So let me just get your response, by the way. So let's see. All right. Thanks for this tips on Rockfin. Roger, he says, Jay, Sergio is down the block from my mom's apartment complex. Come through, bro, on Thanksgiving. Oh, so Serge, if you're still listening, he says Roger tells you to come through on Thanksgiving. Boy, if your mama's cooking, I'm gonna be there too. I'm gonna be on the first Southwest flight to New York. Anyway, he says it's only me, mom, and one of my sisters. Often I say the best people to come up with solutions are the people who suffer directly from those problems. I'm gonna read that again, Roger. Says, I often say the best people to come up with solutions are the people who suffer directly from those problems. With that said, we were a CBI state, and Jay, you live in a CBI state. What do you think the best CBI to run to get rid of bureaucracy and streamline? That's a good question. Serge, I know all of this. You only told me a fraction of what you were going through. I knew getting you on here was a good idea with someone who is going through it. A lot of this in regards to the bureaucracy is over the rest of our heads. I'm still having a hard time wrapping all this around my head. Unless you are going through it, we just don't know it. New York State needs to be a CBI state. New York Health Act would take care of this. JB, downstate is where the most expensive jurisdictions are. I think me and Serge live in Nassau County, going back to New York, and show what the minimum wage would be for Nassau and in Suffolk counties compared to what they suggested for the state. I got you. It says, sadly, the government won't step in, so it's time for the rest of us who are of able body to step up on you guys' behalf. A government not controlled by we the people is a government that is destined to subjugate the will of the people. He continues, says the government is supposed to regulate the powerful to keep them from harming us. We the people are supposed to regulate the government to force them to serve us. Who better than to serve us better than us? Who better to serve us than us? Who better to govern us than us? Start and push ballot initiatives and become citizen lawmakers and constitutional amenders. Thank you so very much. That is a really great point. One of the things I just want to add to what Roger said is a lot of times the government wants to see what we're doing, who we're doing it with, and they want to see everything about us. No secrets. You know, they want us to have transparency from the citizens. But if we want transparency from them, it's not allowed. You can't see it. It has to be closed door. It has to be behind the scenes. It's like that should be the other way around, right? We should have privacy. They shouldn't. And yet they get mad when we ask for transparency. So we need to flip the script. The tables need to be turned. So, boy, I hear you, Roger. Thank you so very much. Let's go to the chat. One of the things that Jacqueline asked was, JB, are you and Serge personal friends from meeting each other at dialysis? No, we just became friends. We got connected through Roger, and this is my first time seeing him face to face. So we got connected through Roger. So, you know, no, we didn't meet at dialysis. We're just dialysis patients who, when I started talking about my experience of being dialysis, it was I know, right? type of conversation. That's basically what it was. So, you know, a lot of times when we start talking to each other, we know exactly what each other's going through. It's kind of like, you know, cancer patients, when they start talking to each other about the same experiences, they have that bond. Me and Sergio, we have that bond. Colin says, I used to work with supplemental security insurance people, SSI, people in New York State. If you live in New York, make sure to confirm they have your living arrangement category for the whole time you are eligible. So that's just in case anybody is watching that may live in New York State that is going through what me and Sergio are going through. Then if you're on SSI, go ahead and make sure to go by what Colin just said. Jacqueline says, does RBN or JB put useful organizations in the chat, like people who can help you to acquire medical treatment or help with immigration, etc.? As far as like different orgs, like if I come across an org that can help people, I'll put that in the chat. I do, when it's relevant to the topic that I'm speaking about. Like for instance, I've spoken about people who are in need of housing, who may be LGBTQ. So I put in people like that. I put in Food Not Bombs links, and links to Palestinian networks, meaning talking about things like Palestine. So if it's relevant to the topic that I'm speaking about, then I'll put that link in the chat. So there you go. Colin says, I would confirm SSI recipients, living arrangements. Many other workers didn't. And I was able to get the paperwork to them to get people back pay, sometimes thousands. Yeah. Thank you so very much for that, for doing that work, because a lot of people just do not get that as well. And a lot of times that retroactive money comes in as a huge help when you finally are approved. And that, just as a side, a lot of people who don't get Social Security Disability or SSI, a lot of times right when you apply, that's when they start counting the amount that you're due if you get approved. Let's say in January you apply and you don't get improved by June, right? So all the months before you applied, if you didn't get anything, if you didn't get any money or anything like that, any income coming in, they don't count that. But the minute you apply, from there up until you're approved, then they will give you money retroactively for that many months. So then you're able to get the assistance there. So it may be like a couple $1,000s, right? Or a few $1,000s, but it's to help you for any back pays, regarding rent, utilities, transportation, all that. But then from there on, then you're just on a regular schedule. So just letting you guys know. But yeah. Juliet says, you are forced to go without something to have a life. Absolutely. This is how it is for many of us who are disabled, is that you literally have to go without in order to have a life. The thing is that the things that you have to go without aren't luxuries. I want people to remember that. It's not luxuries that you have to go without. It is things that are necessities. So a lot of us, when it comes to having utilities, food, clothing, shelter, things like that, transportation, sometimes we have to go without. Like, I don't have my own personal transportation. I don't have a car. I can't afford it, right? I have to be very picky with my food. And even then, I still don't get enough in food stamps in order to be able to cover me for the entire month. On top of all that, right? Like for instance, I need a new phone, but I can't get one. I can't afford it. And so there's so many different things that we have to go without. Like, I would like to live on my own, but I can't afford it. So there's a lot of things that we have to go without. Roger Meadow says, Javier Burgos, most of these politicians are clowns, but as long as you vote for them, CBI is all that matters. And yeah, that one. Okay, so thank you so very much. And let's continue the next one. Let me see. Leroy said, word, You never know what people are dealing with. Had a customer tell me she was recently homeless and lived in her car with her kid. Oh, gosh. That hurts, man. That hurts when you hear stuff like that, man. Hurts your heart, bro. And I hate it. You know what? When Rome was down here for Tour for the Poor, we saw an entire family. 3 kids, a dog, and 2 parents. And they were homeless. Recently homeless. Walking the streets. It was, oh my God, it hurt. One of the kids was in a stroller. 2 of the others looked like one looked like he was barely in kindergarten and first grade. The other one looked like a toddler. It's just, it hurts, bro. It hurts to see that. People say, oh, you need to lift yourself up by your bootstraps. And I'm like, how can you lift yourself up by your bootstraps when you ain't got no boots or socks? You damn near ain't got no feet. So, yeah. So, just. And yeah, I thought this was funny. Roger trying to get Serge to dry snitch. Thanks a lot for that. Yeah. And yeah, I appreciate voices like this. Vincent Cafe. So thank you so very much. Victor Devan, thank you so very much. Everybody for coming in. I also have another story I got to get to. So this is going to be a good one. I got to talk about this. So yeah. Yes, Lucy from Blue Moon Red Wine is in the chat. Good to see you. Yes, we're about to talk about her. I cannot wait. This is going to be an interesting combo. Black Unit Griffin says, I don't have a car either. Wanted to help Savvy and Rome in Boston, but I don't have a ride. Oh, man. Your heart was in the right place and your spirit was there. Just, keep that in mind, okay? Cowboy Kitty says, my best friend has a debilitating psoriasis covering most of his body. Oh, psoriasis covering most of his body. Unable to work and has been denied Social Security for years. See? And we get denied all the time, too. That's the crazy part. Wow. All right. Thank you so very much. Now, let's go to what we were talking about today. So I already talked with Sergio. I was like, y'all need to hear this. You heard it. You heard it here first. Thank you so very much. Now we're going to be going into this. Boom. Regressives revealed. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, we talking about it. Oh. All right. So this lady right here, the one that sounds like she needs a cough drop all the time, Katie Porter, because between her and who's that politician? He was head of the DNC at one time. Oh my God, he sounded like this. He sounds like he needs a lozenge. Him and Katie Porter, I'm like, clear your throat, please. God, they sound like they make me want to cough. Anywho, look, Katie Porter was in hot water recently. Let me get this up. Because this thing was funny. I was just like, hold up, wait a minute. Where my notes at? Where my notes? I got a lot to say. Yo, Dre, I got something to say. Okay. So Katie Porter is a well-known progressive congressperson from California, and she often receives praise for her whiteboard demonstrations and questioning of business leaders, politicians, and bureaucrats in committee hearings. Now, she's been put into the hot seat by activists calling for a ceasefire. Let's take a look. Not a look, a look. Because Katie Porter she was called out. And we're going to find out why she was called out. All right. Come on, computer. You can do it. You can put your back into it. Okay. All right. So, says, this is from Daniela Pardo. Says, demonstrators chanting ceasefire now interrupt Katie Porter while she was on stage talking to voters at the California Democratic Convention. Ooh-wee. Let's take a look. Let me clear my throat. God.
California, in this race, has an opportunity to address not just a policymaker, but also a political leader. I know what it takes to win tough races. I would ask you to allow me to please finish my remarks.
Did you hear what she said? She said she wanted to speak. Wait. She's like, please let me finish my speech. Like, the people are speaking. Look, your bosses are speaking, Mrs. Porter. Your bosses are speaking. Are you listening? Goodness gracious. All right, hang on. Let's continue. But back just a little bit. Let's go.
Please finish my remarks.
You know what I love? She's standing there like a teacher in a class that's like, are you finished yet? See, here's the thing. The people are yelling because they want you to push for a ceasefire now. If you're not saying anything outside of, okay, yes, I will push for a ceasefire, they're not going to be quiet, and they shouldn't have to. But you want to finish your speech. You see, the thing is that everything that these politicians do is pre-planned, pre-packaged. So I'm going to give this speech, I'm going to get my applause line, and then I'm going to get people to vote out for me. And they're like, no. We're not going to go for what you planned. We're actually going to demand a ceasefire. And the ceasefire is for Israel to stop bombing Gaza, stop bombing the open air concentration camp, so that people in Palestine stop dying. That's what they're doing. And guess what? She ain't having it. But we'll get into why she ain't having it. But let's continue.
I would ask you to please allow me to speak. I have won 3 tough races, and I know how to message in a way that will help us win a durable Democratic majority.
She said, I won 3 races, and she knows what it takes. She won 3 races. You know, I don't give a crap if you know what it takes to win pre what's been going on since October 7th. I don't care. The thing is that the electorate, the people who are streaming at you to ceasefire, things have changed, boo-boo. It's not the same. So now you need to shift. And if you're not going to start speaking out on behalf of the people and start speaking against the genocide that's happening, oh, they ain't playing with you no more. The tide has turned. The tide has shifted. This speech that you're making right now, it would have worked back in 2022, but it's late 2023, baby. And it's not, no, they're not playing that no more. Oh, you know how people talk about, oh, we're complaining about, well, no, people are waking up. Ooh, it's not looking good for her.
It will help us be able to win up and down the ballot, to win in every county, in every race across the country.
All right, here's the principal coming in to quiet down the class. Here comes the principal.
Hold on 1 second. Every candidate.
Yo, hold up. Wait. I'm gonna take y'all back to school. Hang on. Remember when the students will be acting up in class, and then the teacher would be standing there, and then the principal comes in, and he had to quiet down the class. He or she had to quiet down the class, and the teacher would be standing there like this. Right? What does that look like? It doesn't that look like a teacher and the principal coming in to reprimand students like we're petulant children? Get the hell out of here. Good Lord.
Every candidate in this race deserves to be heard. And every candidate in this race will be heard. Okay? So let's allow the Congresswoman to finish her remarks, and then we'll move to the next candidate. Thank you.
We love you! California needs strong leadership in the Senate.
So that's her stump speech for running for Senate. And here's the thing. She said, we need strong leadership. Strong leadership would have been like, okay, I hear you. I am for a ceasefire. She would have got the crowd on her side. Boom, right then and there. But she doesn't know how to work the crowd. She doesn't know how to work the crowd. She doesn't know how to acquiesce to the people's voice. Because if she did, she would have said, I would have thought, you know what I would have done? All right, here's JB Politician Edition. If I would have heard them say, ceasefire now, I would have been like, you know what? I hear you. And then you know what? I would have started chanting with them. I would have said, ceasefire now, along with them. And they would have quieted down. And then I would have said, yes, I am absolutely for a ceasefire with you. And this is one of the reasons why you guys should vote for me to be Senator of California, because I also stand for people living their best life, not just in Israel. And now you know, she could have spun it however she wanted to. She could have said, I want peace for the Palestinians and as well as for the Israelis, and boom. She would have got everybody on her side in that crowd. But because she was like, would you guys let me finish my speech? Like, are you guys going to let me finish my speech? You guys are interrupting. This is that same civility politics BS that people like Chris Coons and Senator Elizabeth Warren, that they have invoked. Senator Elizabeth Warren, you're ruining my dinner. Chris Coons, this is a quiet car. Man. Right? Are you guys going to let me finish my speech? Like, no. The time for civility politics is over, because civility is being used as a tool to cover up for genocide, austerity, and suffering. Oh my God, will you stop complaining that you got shot in the chest? Your blood's getting all over my floor. Will you bleed quietly? Bleed to death quietly? That's what's going on. They're asking you to bleed to death quietly. Go over there into the corner and suffer in silence. I don't want to hear it. You're ruining my TV show. Stop it. Die quietly. I don't want to hear you gasp for air. Can you please don't bother me while you're suffocating? That's it. That's how they are. So we shared that. Now, let's share what was going on outside of that very room, because this also was happening. And we taking over. All right. So let me share this with y'all. I don't know. I'm in a silly mood today, but I don't know. I just like clowning on politicians that actually do not support ending of genocide and illegal occupation. But let's go. All right. So this is outside of the room. So it says the California Democratic Convention has been completely taken over with demands for a ceasefire. In the room, Dem delegates and voters chant over speeches from Katie Porter and Adam Schiff, who are anti-ceasefire. Meanwhile, a huge sit-in in the lobby. This is what they're doing, baby.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
So just so that you guys notice, I see a lot of young people, a lot of Gen Z, a lot of people who are just turning 18 or had just turned 18 last year and they're eligible to vote, or just about to turn 18 in 2024 and they'll be eligible to vote. And a lot of them are saying ceasefire now because they see what the hell is going on. They got a Twitter, they got a TikTok, some of them got an Instagram, and they are seeing what is going on. And they are not stupid. These kids are not dumb. These kids are brilliant. And they're seeing what's going on. And they are seeing literal babies blown to pieces. Fathers crying, trying to dig through the rubble for their children. They see mothers screaming and running in the hospitals because they discovered that their child has just died. They're seeing siblings comfort each other. They're seeing big brothers and sisters crying over their dead baby siblings. They're seeing little boys and girls crying over the death of their big brothers or big sisters. They're seeing this, and it is having an extreme effect on them. Now, I have plenty of disagreements with people like Crystal Ball. But one thing that she said, I definitely agree with. She said, this, for a lot of Gen Z especially, this is their Iraq war moment, where a lot of the young people of my generation, millennials, Gen Y, right? We were like, when we saw what was going on with the Iraq war, a lot of us were like, oh, hell no. What a lot of baby boomers saw during the Vietnam War, when they saw what was going on, they said, oh, hell no, no. A lot of us are seeing what was going on. In the Vietnam War, a lot of us saw what was going on in Iraq. We said, oh, hell no. This is the moment for Gen Z. Gen Z saying, no, 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 no. And so they're smart. They're brilliant. And they've been saying it. They've been looking on TikTok. They've been putting all the pieces together. Now, I'm going to share this really quick as well, because I think a lot of people are not aware of what's going on as well as in regards to Katie Porter. So Katie Porter, of course, as many people don't know, she has Zionist proclivities, and she's had them for a while now. And I'm going to share this article where she actually praised Netanyahu for being open to dialogue with her. The right-wing fascistic Benjamin Netanyahu. Yes, I'm going to play on his name. I'm going to play on him because Netanyahu is a horrible person, so he deserves to be clowned on. and I'm a clown on Netanyahu left and right as much as possible. Hang on, let me take that down. Okay. So this is an article out of Mondo Weiss. Says Representative Katie Porter pushed for Dem delegation to meet with Netanyahu. Says she was extremely impressed. So it says last month. So this was back in March of this year. Yeah, March 7th. So it says last month, 15 Democratic House members traveled to Israel as part of a delegation sponsored by the liberal Zionist group, J Street. I want you guys to keep in mind that group, liberal Zionist group, J Street. According to a new Jewish Insider interview with Representative Katie Porter, the Congresswoman pushed the delegation to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and was, quote, extremely impressed with his willingness to grapple with us on some of the toughest issues that Israel is facing. In January, Porter launched a Senate campaign, which is she's running in right now, where they were basically screaming ceasefire now, to succeed Senator Dianne Feinstein in 2024. Now, remember, Dianne Feinstein, she died at the age of 99 while still in office. Was she 99? Something like that. 90, 99. I don't care. She was old. She was old. So she died while still in office. Anywho. So, she was running for 2024. It says fellow California representatives Adam Shifty Schiff and Barbara Lee are also running for the seat. Said Porter told JI's Matthew Kessel that Netanyahu was extremely generous with both his time and his thoughts, and thought J Street Group was really able to have an interactive dialogue with him. She says, I was extremely impressed with his willingness to kind of grapple with us on some of the toughest issues that Israel is facing, everything from judicial reform, an issue that we're having questions and discussions with about right now within the Democratic Party here in the United States, to issues about the West Bank and about settlements. She said, we emphasize that, and I think Netanyahu emphasized back, that there's a long-term project here, which is to have a vibrant, secure Jewish democratic state of Israel. And in order to do that, there needs to be opportunities for the Palestinian people to have their own elected government and governance and land, she continued. Says, how we get there is unclear right now, but we shouldn't let the impediments to that progress prompt us to give up on the goal, given its incredible importance to Israel and to the region and to the United States. Says Porter has emerged as a progressive favorite in recent years as a result of her fierce advocacy for consumer protection and forthright questioning of right-wing officials during congressional hearings. She is not known for her foreign policy positions and admits that Kessel that she's new to the issue, but she certainly doesn't typically vote with a relatively small group of House members who champion the rights of Palestinians. She's not a co-sponsor of Representative Kate Betty McCollum's bill aimed at impending Israel's detention of Palestinian children. She voted in favor of additional $1 billion in Iron Dome funding in 2021 and backed a 2019 House resolution condemning the nonviolent BDS, that is Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement. She's also praised the tightening of sanctions on Iran. So, just as an aside here, she funded the Iron Dome, meaning that she definitely supports Israel. She supports the settler colonial project that is Israel. Just so that anybody goes, well, she's a progressive. No. And a shout out to Savvy Sabs for coining the phrase regressives. We're going to make that name famous. The regressives. Because that's what everybody within that Democratic Party is pretty much. Now, as far as the people who are the least of the regressives, I would say probably somebody like Rashida Tlaib, because she's gotten a little bit more intestinal fortitude within the last month or so, especially since what's been happening in Gaza. But for the most part, I still consider them all regressive. So shout out to you, Sabs, if you're watching. But yes, the regressives. They're not progressive. They're regressive. Regressives. Okay, let's continue. I bet you forgot about that. But anyways, says Porter also told Castle that she has reached out to local IPAC officials, the Israel lobby, for Middle East analysis and to read Noah Tishby's 2021 book, Israel, A Simple Guide to the Most Understood Country on Earth. Here's the thing. Let me come in here for a second. Israel is not misunderstood. Oh, we understand it. Because if you look at the history of what's been going on, it is understood that it is literally a settler colonial project. And people will say, well, the Arabs, they didn't want the Jewish state to exist. It's not that they didn't want the Jewish state to exist. They didn't want the Palestinian land to be taken over by force. They were cool with Jewish people. They just didn't want Zionism to take over their land. See, there's a difference. If you want to come and live next to me, that's all good. But just don't take my stuff. Don't take my house. Don't take my land. Don't take my olive trees. And then don't push me into an open air concentration camp and control my movement in the West Bank of wherever I go. And on top of that, also, do not sit here and take away my food, my electricity, my water, and my fuel. And also, don't put me on some type of plan measuring out the amount of calories that I can get in the area that I live and deem what I can and can't eat. All this happens. All this happens. And don't you dare treat me like a second-class citizen on my own land. That's how it is. But that's what's been happening in Gaza, in the West Bank. And the minute I resist, you guys call me a terrorist. It's not like that. Talk to the people who actually visit the West Bank. Go ahead, talk to them. Talk to Kim Iverson. Talk to Max Blumenthal. Talk to Norm Finkelstein. Talk to Aaron Mate. Talk to these people that have literally visited, that have been to the West Bank, that have been to Gaza. They will tell you from their own admission how horrible the conditions are. That you're only allowed to walk on certain streets if you're Palestinian. That is only reserved for Israelis. What the heck do you call that? It's called apartheid. Meaning apartheid. Separation. One class or one race of people get treated better than another. Apartheid is just another form of Jim Crow. It's just a Jim Crow outside the United States. Let's continue. So, says Tishby, who is an Israeli actress and a special envoy for combating anti-Semitism and the delegitimization of Israel, is an outspoken opponent of the BDS movement and an advocate for the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance controversial working definition of anti-Semitism. She regularly equates Judaism with Zionism and claims that anti-Zionism is inspiring attacks on Jewish people. Here's the thing. What many Orthodox and Hasidic Jews have also stated was that Judaism and Zionism are two completely different things. Zionism is a political ideology. Judaism is a religion. This is like equating, it's not a complete one-to-one. It's like equating capitalism with Christianity. Like capitalism is an economic system. Christianity is a religion. Why are we equating the two? They're not the same. Can Christians be capitalists? Yes. And are all capitalists Christian? No. Just like not all Jews are Zionists and not all Zionists are Jews. There are a lot, in fact, most Zionists, I would argue, are actually Christian and don't have any Jewish ancestry. So this equating of Zionism and Judaism, even a lot of Jewish people don't agree with. So, yeah. Anywho, let's continue. So she talks about lies about Zionism and how from the river to the sea, they consider it to be anti-Semitic, which is complete and utter BS. And so basically that is about Representative Katie Porter. Now, I told you guys to remember the name J Street, right? And so how she is associated with the group J Street. So what is J Street? Let's take a look and here's what I got to say. From what I've researched so far, and I could be wrong, but Katie Porter doesn't get money from IPAC. And then you hear a lot of people talk about IPAC and how IPAC is the Israel lobby. And while IPAC is very famous for being lobbyists for Israel, they give to both Democrats and Republicans. Not enough people are talking about J Street. J Street is also an Israeli lobby. It's a pro-Israel lobbyist group. So let's take a look at J Street because not enough people are harping on J Street. See, if we're going to go after these Zionist lobbies, we also need to go after not just IPAC, but J Street as well. Now, this is J Street's own website, right? It says the political home of pro-Israel, pro-peace, pro-democracy Americans. Now, let's go to their myths and facts. So it says our support for Israel. So myth number one. Hang on, let me make sure. Yeah, on my large. Okay. Myth number one. J Street is not truly supportive of Israel. Let's see what they say. They say, oh, let's enlarge this baby. All right. So y'all can see it in 4K, bright and clear. It says, we are committed to Israel's future as a Jewish and democratic homeland living within the secure and internationally recognized borders. The question is, how did we get here? They say, we believe that a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is the single best chance we have to secure this future. First of all, number one, do I believe that a two-state solution is possible, doable, and logical? No. I'm going to tell you why. Because if you look at Israel, number one, it's taken up some Palestinian land. So it's already on stolen land, first of all. Number two, the settlements that they're on is also stolen land, the illegal settlements. So they've taken land away from Palestinians. And then on top of it, you would have a pocket here and then a pocket here. And those pieces are not connected. So then you would have, this would be one state and then that would be one state. And it just doesn't work. So you would literally have, so where would the clear border lines be? It would be sprinkled. On top of that, the Greater Israel Plan does not want a two-state. It wants a single state an ethno-nationalist state of all Jewish people, nobody else, which means clearing out all the Palestinians, because the land that the Palestinians are on, they want it all. Greater Israel actually means to grow Israel beyond the borders that is seen right now, beyond, into places like Jordan, into places like Egypt, into places like Lebanon. They want to grow Israel beyond what you see already. They don't want a two-state. Israel doesn't want a two-state solution. They want to grow Israel even bigger than what it already is. Why do you think they're bombing Gaza? So this whole thing about, oh, well, we want a two-state solution. Israel don't want no damn two-state solution, and Palestinians want their land back. It's not possible, baby. And then on top of that, one state will be treated better than the other. Let's continue. And this is the big point here. I want you guys to listen closely. They say, we believe in the Zionist ideal on which Israel was founded, that of a Jewish homeland where Jews can always go to be secure. We hope that Israel will live up to and represent the core Jewish values of justice, equality, and democracy. Now, they try to clean it up by saying, we don't believe that agreeing with everything the current Israeli government does should be the litmus test of what it means to be pro-Israel. Here's the problem. They're basically saying that we still believe in settler colonialism and stealing the land of the Palestinians. We just don't want them to do it in a mean way. So we're cool with colonialism. It's just, can you be nicer about it? Steal the land more nicely. Take the land nicely, right? Apparently, that's what J Street is. It is a Zionist organization. Now, let's go into who gets money from J Street, because we got to know who still agrees with Zionists. So first, I'm going to start off with IPAC, just so that you guys see. IPAC gives money to Democrats and Republicans. Ooh. So IPAC is American Israel Public Affairs Committee, right? They give to Democrats and Republicans. They give more to Democrats than they do Republicans. They give 62.44% to Democrats, and they give 37.51% to Republicans, right? So, let me share. So I have it on set filtered by Democrat, and let's do all. So you guys can get both House and Senate. So of course, let's just go down the line to anybody that we might recognize. Of course, Steny Hoyer, of course. Chantel Brown, right? Wasn't she the one who beat Nina Turner in Ohio in the race? Well, she's getting IPAC money, right? So that's no surprise. Richard Blumenthal. Look, there goes Richie Torres and his trifling ass. Yep. Of course, Mr. Michael Bennett, Tammy Duckworth. I'm just looking at people who I recognize. Of course, Florida Congresswoman and spokesperson for ramen noodles, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She's getting a good chunk there, right? Chuck Schumer. See? Oh, look at there. Look at there. The dude from Django Unchained, James Clyburn. Oh, he's definitely in with IPAC. Hakeem Jeffries. Look at that. This is just the first page, y'all. There's 7 more pages to go. All right. Let's go to page 4. Frederica Wilson. These black people have no solidarity with the Palestinians. I'm telling you, it's a lot of these black politicians, man. Crazy, man. But yeah, so I just wanted to quickly share what some of the people who are getting IPAC money. But let's talk about J Street, right? Because that's what I really wanted to share. So just to give you an idea of who IPAC's recipients are, let's go to J Street. Now, I'm going to show you something with you guys. Very interesting. Now, J Street gives 100% to all Democrats. I want to make that abundantly clear. Here you have a Zionist organization that gives to only Democrats. They don't get to Republicans. But they still agree with settler colonialism. This needs to tell you something about Democrats. All right. Now, let's continue. So, 121 members that are given. So it's 20 members, right? All right. So I had it set up for the House because we're looking at people like Katie Porter, right? But let's go down the list. Let me see. Here she is, Katie Porter. Boom. Whoop. Look at that. So she gets money from J Street, right? So it shows that, of course, she's going to be going along with the continuation of taking Palestinian land. I haven't heard her say anything otherwise. Let's continue to go. Oh, look, there's Ro Khanna. Interesting. Ro Khanna, Jerry Nadler. Oh, interesting. Summer Lee. Say it ain't so, Summer Lee. Really? You also getting money from Zionists? Okay. All right. I see you, Summer. I see you. Who else? Because I saw some names in here. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Barbara Lee. And guess what? Guess what, chicken butt? Everybody was saying, well, Barbara Lee, she's one of the only ones that actually calling for a ceasefire. And yet she's getting money from Zionists. Barbara Lee, who's also running for senator of New York against Katie Porter and Adam Schiff. Interesting. And Barbara Lee gets all the praise. She always gets praise for, oh, well, she was one of the only people that actually voted against the Afghanistan war. I'm telling you right now, do not meet your heroes. Because a lot of people are always praising Barbara Lee. Like, oh my God, Barbara Lee, she's so progressive. And yes, she gets money from Zionists. So what now? So if you're in California and you're trying to vote for somebody for Senate, and you're looking at Adam Schiff, Katie Porter, and Barbara Lee, and you're like, well, I'm trying to find who doesn't take money from Zionists. Guess what? You're stuck like Chuck. You ain't got no Democrats and that's running that you can actually depend on to not be teamed up with Zionists. And like I said before, the people who say they call for a ceasefire, I said it before, ceasefire is not good enough. Ceasefire is way below than what it should be. Let me continue this, and I'm going to talk about why I disagree with just ceasefire. I say ceasefire is not good enough. I'm gonna tell y'all why in a second. So let's continue. So Barbara Lee is in that list. Jamal Bowman, homeboy, right? Oh, I forgot to show y'all. I think this is on page. Oh, I think he's on the first page. Jamal Bowman. Let me see. Oh, he might not have been on the first page. There was another one that I saw that a lot of people were like, would be like, what? Let's go to page 3. I'm just looking for people who I may recognize that. Oh, I remember why. Let's do all. So y'all see J Street, Raphael Warnock also gets money from J Street, right? Tim Ryan, Mark Kelly. Working Families Party actually gets money from J Street. Did you guys know that? Interesting, right? Mondaire Jones gets money from J Street. Jessica Cisneros wasn't she a progressive that was running? Jessica Cisneros? Wasn't she the one that was running in Texas against Henry Cuellar? Yeah. Yeah. Jessica Cisneros. Just because they say they're progressive doesn't mean they're actually progressive. Just because they're trying to be in the squad, what's that now? So people really need to look at and go, where, like, follow the money, baby. Follow it. Because a lot of people, you don't know. And until you see who they get money from. So when it comes to actually looking at people who get money, like Pramila Jayapal, they're telling you who they get money from. Jim Clyburn gets money from IPAC and J Street. Look, Connor Lamb. All these people. All of them. So when it comes to a lot of these politicians, don't sit here and trust them when they talk about, oh, we just want the rights of Palestinians protected. Because the thing is, if you really were fighting for the rights of Palestinians, you would actually say that we need to end the occupation. Now, we already went to that. So the fact is that people like Adam Schiff, Barbara Lee, Katie Porter, and pretty much all these politicians get money from these Zionist pro-Israel lobbies. I'm telling you why a ceasefire is nowhere good enough. Let's say Israel does do a ceasefire. It's only so that more Palestinians will leave their land and go to Egypt, and then it's open land that Israel gets to take hold of, and the Palestinians won't be allowed to return. Remember, destabilization is to put fear into the people who occupy the land to chase them away. The bombing, the sexual assault, the cutting off food, water, electricity, and fuel are all tactics to chase them away, to chase Palestinians off of their land. If it was only about getting Hamas, they would use special forces to go in and extract Hamas, just like a SWAT team would go into a school or a church to extract an active shooter. But they don't do that. They bomb hospitals, they bomb schools, refugee camps, churches, and then they use the excuse that Hamas was using this as a location, as a base. Now, question. They were using an Israeli hospital as a base. Would that hospital be bombed? That would be seen as crazy, and rightly so. You would not and could not conceivably bomb a hospital full of people just to get at a very small few of militants or people that you deem terrorist. That's ridiculous. And yet, people will look the other way or believe Israel when they go, well, Hamas was in this location, so we had to bomb it. But then when somebody pushes them back on it, well, then they go, see, they're all Hamas. They're all terrorists. All Palestinians are terrorists. So now you're blanketing an entire group of people with terrorists. See, I know a little bit about this being a black man, because a lot of times we get generalized and we get blanketed all the time. Just ask a black person about the last time they went into a store and how we get profiled. We get profiled all the time. Palestinians are literally getting profiled. And they're losing their lives over it. We know. We get profiled too. So when somebody says that, oh, we just need to have a ceasefire, I'm like, that should be a piece of what happens. The ceasefire needs to happen. The food, water, electricity, and fuel need to be restored. And the occupation needs to end. The occupation must end. And people will say, well, the Jews need their own state. They can live in Palestine. They can live among the Palestinians like they've had for hundreds and hundreds of years. How fair is it to take a land from people who have been living there for centuries? How fair is that? How fair would it be for me, with my ancestry being Nigerian, and if I go to Nigeria and take land from somebody else, let's say hypothetically, there's some Nigerians that have lived there for hundreds and hundreds of years, and I go there and I take it from the Nigerians and I go, well, this is my land. It's my land now. How fair is that? It's not fair. And people can say, well, the Jewish people are ancestral to this land because God promised it to them. Okay, so a guy named originally Abram that was renamed Abraham by God, and his wife Sarai, which was renamed by God Sarah, and his mistress Hagar decided to move from the city of Ur, which is located in Iraq, over to Palestine, and they lived in tents that were promised there. Abraham has a son by the name of Isaac, which is translated to laughter, because when Sarah was promised by an angel that Isaac was going to be born to her, even though she was like 90 years old, she laughed like, oh, that's crazy, I'm not going to have a kid. And she laughed, and then they said, oh, that's going to be the name of your son. His name is going to be Isaac, which is translated to laughter. You had her son named Isaac. When Isaac was a young man, God told Abraham, okay, I want you to sacrifice your son. Abraham was willing to do that. Then he stopped him, said, no, you're not going to sacrifice your son. So what you're going to do is, as a sacrifice to me, there's a ram that's been caught in the bush, sacrifice the ram. And so I'm going to make a nation out of you. Isaac has a son, Jacob. Abraham has two sons, Isaac and Ishmael. Ishmael was the son that was born out of Hagar. Isaac was the son that was born out of Sarah. Out of Ishmael came the Ishmaelites. Out of Isaac came out the Israelites. Right? Isaac has a son named Jacob. Jacob has 12 sons, which are known as the 12 tribes. Look, trust me, I studied all this. They have the 12 tribes of Israel. Right? You have the tribe of Judah. You have the tribe of Reuben. Reuben. One of the youngest was actually Benjamin. You have Joshua. And so, because of that, this is all in the Bible. Israel is also Jacob, because Jacob's name was also Israel. And so they were promised the land that the Canaanites were, which is basically Palestine. So that's basically what it was. So if you ask me, the original people of the world, of the land, are actually the Canaanites. The Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Amalekites. So if we're going to talk, if you guys want to talk, okay, let's go back in history. Let's actually read from the book. I got Bibles in the house. Just because God promised it to them, that was your God, not their God. Is it fair? Is it fair to actually take that land from other people? Because that seems to be God-ordained colonialism. People have said that they have the right by God to take over this land. What happened to the indigenous people of this land? I used to preach door to door for almost 20 years. I had to know all this information. Was it Hagar? Did I get the name wrong? Oh. Yeah, Hagar. Yeah, I was right. Yep. My memory still serves me. I remember. Okay, yeah. But yeah, that's basically, that's the whole, that's really the history. So that's why when people calling for a ceasefire, I applaud it, right? I applaud that you guys calling for a ceasefire, but it's not enough. And people like Katie Porter are not going to really call for a ceasefire because they get money from the Zionists. And the number of Israelis that were killed on October 7th, that's stagnant. It has not went up. But the people, for the most part, or if it's still going up, it's going up extremely slow because there's not really troops on the ground. They're just flying over and bombing. But the amount of people who are Palestinian that are dying is skyrocketing. So when it comes to these politicians like Katie Porter, no good. This is why I say the duopoly, toss them to the side. They're not good for any one of us. They don't support the Palestinians. And even more so, they don't actually support Jewish people either, because they're willing to keep Jewish people in harm's way when it comes to doing an illegal occupation, which the Palestinians have to resist because they're stealing their land, which push Jewish people in harm's way. I'd say that's pretty anti-Semitic. Let me share this. Because a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, you support Hamas. Do you condemn Hamas? I saw this.
I fully endorse.
Let's take a look at this. This is
I fully
a beautiful
endorse.
takedown by Norm Finkelstein. And then we'll get into the chat.
I fully endorse the goal of dismantling this organization and just killing their leaders wherever they are, so that they can no longer hold Gaza hostage, which is what they are doing, and can no longer commit mass pogroms against the Jewish. You cannot talk about any kind of two-state solution. You can't talk about any of that until you get rid of Hamas. And I would put the question to you: do you support the dismantling of Hamas?
Before I let him continue, before I let Norm respond, when he talks about nothing can continue until they get rid of Hamas, why didn't these solutions happen before Hamas came about? Hamas has not been around for the most of the time that Israel has been occupying that land. Hamas has been around less time, less than half the time that Israel has been occupying the land. So what about back then? See? So once Hamas is gone, then what? It's going to be another excuse. Well, we got rid of Hamas. Now what? Why aren't you guys ending the occupation? Oh, because they don't want to. Let's let. Now, Norm Finkelstein is going to do a brilliant takedown. I want you guys to take notes.
Good question.
Okay. I'll answer that question because I never shy away from questions as long as I've thought them through. And then number two, what should be done now? So let's take a simple case. About 1,400 people, according to Israeli figures, about 1,400 people were killed on October 7th. Of those, about 350 were soldiers. If you look at the figures for, let's say, Operation Cast Lead, it's about the same. 1,400 people killed in Operation Cast Lead, about a quarter of them Hamas militants. It's roughly the same. So if you're of the opinion that because of what Hamas did on October 7th, it has to be destroyed, not just dismantled, it has to be destroyed. That, by the way, is Bernie Sanders' position. I acknowledge that. Then by that reasoning, the Israeli government has to be dismantled and destroyed. Now, that's just one massacre. See, that's just one, because Israel likes to periodically mow the lawn. In Operation Protect...
I thought you were going to answer the
question.
question.
I'm answering the question. I'm saying if Hamas has to be dismantled because of what it did on October 7th, then if you take Operation Cast Lead, Operation Pillar of Defense, Operation Protective Edge, then the Israeli government has to be dismantled 10 times over.
Yeah, I follow you, but it's not really an answer to the question.
Oh, it is an answer to the question.
Because
it's called keeping a single standard.
No, it's
you want to
not.
you want to talk about the 290 Israeli hostages? I say fine, but then let's talk about the 2,300,000 Gaza hostages. Gaza. Oh yes, Gaza. Hamas is closing the gates. I know that. Gaza is Hamas is
love to open the gates to kill more Jews.
Yes. Okay.
I don't think.
And now,
wait. Yo, here's one thing I love about Norm Finkelstein. He may have some opinions that I may disagree with. That's okay. One thing I love about Norm Finkelstein is his sarcasm. Oh, oh. And that's, look, this is one thing I love about some Jewish people is that they have that sarcasm that just cuts. And it just, especially when they're not about that BS, when they're speaking the truth, God, especially when they're from up north. Oh, God. Norm Finkelstein is a national treasure. You gotta love Norm Finkelstein. Oh my gosh. Okay. He was like, oh yeah, Hamas, yeah, they're the ones who are locking the gates, right? I love it. Give it to him, Norm.
And
I understand your point of hypocrisy.
I'm saying,
but
no,
still, that's whether you
I
think
will
Hamas should
hold
be.
everyone to a single standard. Number two,
Should both governments? What do you mean Israeli? What do you mean by
I'm
dismantle the
saying
Israeli government?
if you
Election?
if you want to decide that Hamas has to be dismantled because of what it did on October 7th, I say fine. But then the Israeli government has to also be dismantled because for 20 years, it's kept the whole population confined in a concentration
I don't
camp
understand.
and periodically,
I get you.
And periodically mows
Professor,
the lawn.
okay,
It mows the lawn.
Professor,
Yeah.
but
No, you couldn't.
You want to destroy the world's only Jewish
Let me
state.
respond. Let me ask you a question. Hold on. Just hold on for 1 second.
You want to mock. Now, maybe.
I'm not going to mock you.
I will mock you.
Maybe.
Let me say.
Comedy. Maybe
now you're getting personal. Let me just get my answer.
Comedy may be your forte, but the suffering of humanity has been what I've been about since I came onto this earth.
Now let me.
And I am not.
Are you going to let me answer?
I am not going to trivialize the fact that 1,100,000 children in Gaza are now the object of a genocide. I see no humor in that.
Okay, hold on a second.
Nothing
hold on a second.
funny
Hold on a
about
second.
that. I would betray the memory of my parents were I ever to mock, ridicule, find funny, whatever.
Hold on a
what's
second.
being done
Professor.
to those people in Gaza.
Professor.
It is a crime that makes your heart just scream.
Professor.
At what's being done to
No
them.
one.
السلام عليكم. لا تنسوا الإعجاب بالفيديو.
All right, people. That was how you take it down. Because the thing is that you have to go back in history because everybody wants to go October 7th, October 7th, October 7th, 2014, 2012, 2010. When people talk about October 7th, all right, they condemn what Israel did on October 8th, October 9th, October 10th, October 11th, October 12th, October 13th, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Look, people are like, oh my God, 1,200 people killed. Yes, that is horrible. 1,200 people. What about the 12,000? What about the 12,000 that have been killed needlessly? What about them? Why would I burn the house down to get a wasp nest? Why am I going to burn the house down because of a wasp nest? Aren't I just going to bring in a specialist that knows how to deal with wasps and extract a wasp nest? If that's the case. But it's not about that. It never was. And it's clear. And so when people go, oh, well, we need to get at Hamas. Why am I going to, and I'm not comparing this to Hamas, I'm just saying as an analogy. If you come to me and you have a tumor, a cancerous tumor, why am I going to kill you to get rid of the tumor? Oh, well, this person has a tumor? Well, just kill him. That way you get rid of the cancer. Does that make sense to you? you have a cancerous tumor. Let's say you have a cancerous tumor in your leg. Why would you kill the person? Why would you even chop the leg off? Why don't you just extract the tumor out of the leg? Just take the tumor out. They still get to keep their leg. Oh no, we just got to chop we just got to chop the leg off. How does that make sense? And here's the crazy part about it all. Everybody's using logic right now, and this is why there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people just in cities alone, just in Washington, D.C., not to mention the millions of people that have gathered to advocate for Palestine around the world. Why? Because they saw what was going on. And because they saw what was going on, they applied logic. And so because of that, you know, we're going to sit here and say, well, we just have to get at Hamas. Well, that's what we have to resort to. I'll put it to you this way, and I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna make no look. I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on this. I'm gonna speak with my whole chest. They're okay with that. These politicians, especially, are okay with Israel doing that tactic because they regard the life of Palestinians less than. Katie Porter doesn't value the lives of Palestinians as equal to anybody else. Neither does Adam Schiff. Barbara Lee, she's calling for a ceasefire, but it's not good enough. But she doesn't want to go against the Israel lobby because it's out of fear. There's no spine there when it comes to that. All these politicians, no, because they value the lives of Palestinians less than they value other people's lives. And if they value the lives of Palestinians less than, what do you think they think about people who look like me? Also, what about the people who are poor, working class? By the way, and this is going to be my last note for you guys. If Israel is so willing to do what it's doing to Palestinians, what makes you think that they won't do it to you if they're pushed to that point? I said what I said. If they're willing to look the other way at what Israel's doing and even fund what Israel's doing, that means that they are willing to do it to you. I'm telling you. This is why we got to change the system, like Sergio said. And by changing the system, this means doing some actions that may require us to be ones who continue on with our continuing our building of community with each other, right? I think that's important. Talk to your neighbors. Do actions on the ground. Like, for instance, here's a link. Find a protest, stop the Gaza genocide. It says how to rise up Palestine. So, and then you can find protests Or you can educate people, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your family about what's going on. Let them know that this isn't right. And then connect it to the system. Connect it. Let people know, hey, look at, like, for instance, bring up how the boycotts are actually working and is causing these companies to lose a lot of money. Bring that up. And then say, well, if we can do this for Palestinians, imagine what we can do for ourselves. Let's start getting that hamster on that wheel running in the minds of our families, friends, and neighbors. And then also mutual aid, right? I think that's important too. But that's how we do this. And the thing is that these news stories are they're bad and they're depressing, but we have to find the solutions within these in order to be able to change the system so that we have less bad news. We have less negative news, less news that hurts our hearts, less conditions that put us under the thumb. I think that's what we need to do. It's in our hands. So we have to be able to do it. So, that being said, did you do it? Did you like the stream? Go ahead, give a like. And if you guys have not, go to jaybefaunt.substack.com so you guys are notified of whenever I upload clips, write articles, or go live. So thank you so very much for that. Now, Neil, we are going to the chat on Rockfin. Rocky Finn. Let me see. I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. Okay. All right. Here's what. Let me see. Oh, okay. I read all that. So Roger says, continues, he says, Paul Anderson of the Green Party, Mark Ruzon of American Solidarity Party, and the following candidates are all running as independent for California U.S. Senate. Dana Bobbitt, Frank Ferreira, Renee Martinez, Major Singh, Joe Sosinski, Eduardo Rigardo, independent, write-in. Look them up and let's start platforming them. Interesting. He says, Jay, you got a whole bunch of Gen X in the YouTube chat. I felt like I was at high school reunion. At high school reunion, Jay, I couldn't believe I was agreeing with this guy. If you known who Pat Buchanan is and how his history on Black people and left ideas, then you know it's serious when I agree with him. Oh my gosh, what in the world? Pat Buchanan, that dude? All right, hang on. Oh, Lord. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hang on. Wait. Let me show you this. Roger, you be getting me in good trouble. Okay, so here's what Roger said. He said, I know you're not about to have me agreeing with this guy, but then again, what's right is right, and opposing forces every once in a while either come together to clash or work in unison. Let me hear what this greaseball had to say. If you look, Roger, if you get me agreeing with this guy, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be so mad if I end up agreeing with him. Shoot. Don't like him. Okay, let's go.
You've also said that Congress is an Israeli-occupied territory. Now, what do you mean by that?
I said on the McLaughlin group in response to a question, Jim. They said, do you think that the Congress of the United States will resist this demand for further aid, I said, threw out a crack at her. I said, no, the Congress of the United States is Israeli-occupied territory.
What I meant by that is the most
Powerful lobby in Washington, which Congress can't stand up to. One of the most powerful is certainly the pro-Israeli lobby. It has gotten its way in this town year in and year out.
And I don't think the automatic votes of the Congress of the United States for $3 and $4 billion worth of aid to Israel are necessarily in the national interest of the United States. And that comment, which is to ridicule the subservience of the Congress of the United States, is perfectly valid. I do not believe my government should subsidize Israeli socialism, which we have done, and I do not believe we should subsidize a policy on the West Bank of the Jordan River, which denies the Palestinian people the right to transport from Lithuania to Croatia. But if
God damn it! He's making too much damn sense. Keep it together, JB. Keep it together. Damn it! God, he's a racist too. Damn you, Roger. Oh.
I also believe that Pat Buchanan is entitled to stand up and speak out if he against any kind of political lobby, whether it's the Greek lobby, Aid for Greece, or whether it's the pro-Israeli lobby, Aid for Israel, without being called vile names.
And you think that's what's happened to you?
Let me tell you something, Jim. When this little flap is 18 months old,
well, just
I made this crack. I know Buckley's talking about an 18-month-old column. Let's forget that. When this broke, I made that wiseacre crack about the Amen Corner. It was wiseacre, and it was very funny. You know what happened as a consequence of that? People called my newspapers that carried my column and said, drop Buchanan. AIPAC listed 5 conservative columnists who were accepted.
The Jewish
the pro-Israeli lobby. Right. I went out to speak in the country, and a little girl from the junior league said, I get these horrible calls from New York about you. There are individuals who are pro-Israeli, go around the country and speak in synagogues and say, call CNN and get Pat Buchanan taken off the air. Those kinds of tactics, in my judgment, are un-American. They are done in the name of the First Amendment, and they violate the spirit of the First Amendment. You know me. I've been in this town for 25 years, 30 years. I am controversial. I am sometimes insensitive. I am tough, and I am hard. But I think that this type of thing is beyond the pale.
Roger, you're going to hear from me about this. I cannot believe you got me agreeing with Pat Buchanan. God damn it. He's right, though. Oh. Especially the part about the Palestinian rights. Oh, thanks, Roger. Ah, jeez. All right, let's go to the rest of the chat. You guys are all right. Katie Lewis, Cam, good to see you. He says he's advocating for endless bombing. Does he not think the survivors of the battle against Hamas would just become Hamas again? Yeah, I mean, even if they don't use the same name, they're going to resist again. They're gonna keep resisting, you know, because basically they want their stolen land back. Elhanar says the only reason this is happening in Gaza is because Israel wants the $1.5 trillion in natural gas in the Gaza Strip. Greedy is why this is happening. You ain't saying nothing but a word. It's not just the $1.5 trillion in natural gas, but it's also the canal that they wanted to build parallel to the Suez Canal so that they actually can get more money from that, having that canal there. And the canal actually has to go through Gaza in order to be able to operate efficiently. So, yes, that's also another reason why. And it's also because of the offshore oil and natural gas that is right off the coast of the West Bank as well. Dwayne says, if this was just about Hamas, why is Israel attacking the West Bank? Because yes, Hamas is not in the West Bank. Hamas is in Gaza. But there are Palestinians that are being murdered in the West Bank by the IDF. Why? Hamas is not there. They don't care because it's not. Hamas is a scapegoat. Hamas is an excuse. right? It's an excuse. Like, for instance, and here's the thing. Why did we go to Iraq? Because they were like, oh, they have weapons of mass destruction. But what was the initial response to go there? Was 9/11. Saddam, who had nothing to do with 9/11, but then they had to say, well, we have weapons of mass destruction. Funny thing is, it wasn't a missile that hit the Twin Towers. It was 2 planes. Wasn't missile. But they had to say weapons of mass destruction to scare people because our heightens were already sensitive. And so Saddam Hussein was used as a scapegoat. Right or wrong, no matter how you feel about Saddam, he was a scapegoat. In order for the United States to do what it did in Iraq. And then, of course, you had Al-Qaeda. You had to do what we did in Afghanistan, in Ethiopia. Not Ethiopia. Well, yeah, I think we did some stuff in Ethiopia. But Somalia, I'm sorry. We did in Somalia, Pakistan, Syria. Yeah. There's always an excuse. So, yes, thank you so very much for that, Dwayne. Let me see here. Okay, Gregorius. I don't know. Will I be monetized again? I have no idea. I'm at a loss. I'm just like, I don't know if I'm going to happen again. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, it does. It's whatever. Ilhan R says all governments around the world answer to the World Economic Forum. Billionaires run the world, not the people. Thank you so very much. Oh, sorry. The audio is low. Yeah, I don't have volume booster. I should see about looking into that. I gotta contact somebody for that. Thank you so very much. Tool Druid says even broken clocks are right twice a day. This is a great example of that. Yep. Yeah, so let me I'll put the link to that video in the chat so that you guys can listen to it yourself as well. Oh, let me do it this way. Just so that you guys do not miss out. All right. Thank you so very much for that, Roger. And sorry for the echo, guys. I apologize. Leroy says, we'll see only disagrees with Israel because he sees it as socialism. Yeah, he doesn't even know what socialism is unless it slapped him in the face, and even still. Anyway, says, yeah, because we agreed on the Constitution way before Bush effed up the nation. But that's the same party as people like Pat Buchanan. But yeah. Black Unigriffin says, also, have you noticed that no one has officially declared war legal yet? They never will because they don't necessarily need to. They have unilateral powers now. It doesn't matter anymore. Ilhanar says Hamas is paid for by Israel. Yeah, I heard. I got to look into that, but I think Savvy's going to try to do a show on it, but a subject on it, but about how the formation of Hamas was created by Israel and Netanyahu. Got to look into that. But yeah. Jacqueline says, my daughter who watches airplanes investigation said that hitting those buildings purposefully like that was really hard to do and took a lot of expertise. Yeah. Dwayne says Pat Buchanan is just an isolationist who wants to keep his tax dollars and a racist. Yeah. Says Netanyahu funded Hamas against the PLO, and Netanyahu wanted to undermine Arafat. Yeah. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. So just check here. Okay. So beyond that, so if you guys have not already, then you guys can donate to our mutual aid, Orlando Mutual Aid. You guys can go to Cash App at $ Orlando RBN. Of course, we're continuing to raise money for that. So I will put that in the chat just in case anybody wants to give a little, just so that we can help our homeless neighbors a lot. So thank you so very much for all of that. And yeah, Roger, despite popular belief, I also remember Pat Buchanan. I'm what you call an elder millennial. So unfortunately, I remember him too. I remember his dry, crusty ass. But yes, definitely. Thank you so very much. And did you guys like the stream, by the way? I'm nearing the end, so if you guys have not, then you guys can just like the stream, like dude, just like the stream. I mean, it's like no biggie. I mean, all you got to do is just like go down there and click, and then next thing you know, it puts off the thumbs up, and it pushes me onto the like the algorithm. Like, dude, like come on, you know, let's just do that. You know, it's no skin off your back. You know what I mean? If you want to, you know, if you know, dude, you know, if you don't like it, you know, you can always give thumbs down, you know, man. You're like, you know, that was my Valley Boy. Was that pretty good? I don't know. And so, I forgot that article. Anywho, it's not that big of a deal. And then on top of that, over 60% of people, of voters, also want a ceasefire too. But I was going to show that. And then Muslim Americans are actually threatening to not vote for Biden, which is actually kind of hilarious. Oh, and let me give you guys that link to the Open Secrets, so you guys can share that with all your friends. Go ahead, share it with all your friends and your family and your co-workers too. Go ahead and share with them. All right. That one's for the J Street, and I'm going to share with y'all the ones for the iPad too. Go ahead. Go ahead, share it around, talk amongst yourselves. Hello, my name is Linda Richmond. Welcome to Coffee Talk. Remember that from Saturday Night Live? We'll have coffee, we'll talk, no big whoop. Yes, Dwayne. Dwayne says sharing is caring. Go ahead. Share, care, sharing is caring. I got some Intimates. You guys want some Sanka? We got a couple Sanka. You can have with your Intimates cakes. All right. So let me stop. I'm getting too goofy. I'm hungry too. I gotta get going. But anyways, before I let you go, can I get a little kiss? Good night, baby. I'm gonna share this too. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yeah. If you guys have not, I want you guys to take a look at this. This article was fire while I have you guys here. So, let me share my screen really quick. So, KD Lewis is actually in the chat. He wrote this article. He's also part of the Orlando Mutual Aid chapter with me. He did an article called "Thank You for Your Service." It says how the military-industrial complex exploits the goodwill and image of U.S. service members at the expense of American citizens and global security. This article was wonderful. Go ahead and look him up on Substack and give this article a read. He also talks about the Black Misleadership class as well. And I think that it is really good because a lot of times people will look at Black people and go, you know what? They sold us out. And there's a lot of, Black misleadership people who have sold us out as well. Go ahead, get that article, read his other articles on his Substack. He's a writer, and he's also doing mutual aid with me here in Orlando. So shout out to Cam as well. Thank you so very much for doing what you do, bro. It means a lot, and I just want to share that among the people. So, and plus, support independent media, people. That's what it's about. People like Cam is now in the independent media space. He's doing writing, and he is based as F, okay? So please make sure to also do that as well. Shout out to Katie. All right, so I'm going to head out. Thank you so very much. If you guys have not, if you guys want to subscribe to my Patreon, go ahead. That's also in the description. If you guys want to send me anything through PayPal, you guys can go ahead and do that. Thank you so very much. Now, we're about to head out. I have a video that I want to share with you guys. As we leave, this is going to be some music, and it's going to be a girl trolling as well. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. But like I always say, water your plants, water yourselves, leave the world better than you found it, and continue to speak out against the atrocities that our government either funds or facilitates around the world. Do not stop speaking about Palestine, Haiti, Sudan, Congo, wherever you are. If we're going to talk about freeing all those, Haiti, Sudan, Congo, Palestine, also free Puerto Rico, free American Samoa, free Hawaii, free Alaska, free Turtle Island, really, all of it. Free all these occupied areas where colonialism really should just die off. So free them all, right? And let's get ourselves to a world where people have sovereignty and self-determination over the land that they have. Free Syria, free Yemen, free it all, baby. That's how I feel. I want everybody to be free. And also have democracy everywhere. Democracy in the workplace, as well as democracy in our government. Because that's the kind of guy I am. I love democracy. Now let's see them argue with that. Bunch of yutzes. Anywho, love you guys. Oh, gosh. Come on, bring it in. You know exactly what's coming. Mwah! All right, I got you. Got that forehead right there. I got you. Got you there. Don't wipe it. Don't you dare wipe off that forehead kiss. You know that means something. You know I got you. Looking all sexy, gorgeous. And some of you looking all happy and sweet, your compassionate souls, like a sweet old grandma, grandpa. Gotta love you. All right. Now take care.
Oh, where are you from?
Israel.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's my turn, okay? A blinking flash of white light lit up the sky over Gaza tonight. People running for cover, not knowing whether they ordered a lie. They carry the things on the plains, where refugee verily flames, and nothing remains. Just our voice rising up in the smoky haze. We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can boast on our home, on our schools, our spirits will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Oh, where are you from?
Israel.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's my turn, okay?